Black Clover, the son of fire dragon Igneel. Chapter 21. Fire Magic. Leo Rugians. Fugolian's fiery lion unleashed flames, but it couldn't catch Patry, who moved like a beam of light. Trying to escape, Drake leapt high, unleashing a fire dragon's iron fist. He only hit the incoming light swords, two more struck him, sending him flying. More light swords descended, but a spiral fire pillar deflected them. Blood flowed from Drake's shoulder, soaking his cloak. The wound under his ribs was shallower but still bleeding heavily. Drake cauterized the wound with flames, a temporary measure. The flames didn't hold Patry long, his light whip severed Fugolian's fire pillar. Drake longed for Yami. Yami's dark magic would have been easier against Patry's light magic. Drake realized his arrogance. Defeating Lotus Womps in the Magic Palace didn't mean he was at a captain's level. Experience was crucial, sometimes even more important than magic power or spells. His fight with Lotus Womps was a good example. He couldn't have defeated Lotus without luck. Drake hadn't fully mastered the core, forbidden power of Dragon Slayer magic. Each Dragon Slayer mage has a dragon seed. As they grow, the seed sprouts. When it blossoms, the mage masters the dragon force and transforms into a dragon. Drake could feel his dragon seed growing stronger with his body and magic power. Activating it would unlock further Dragon Slayer magic power. But the dragon seed remained unresponsive, seemingly dormant. Drake suspected his world magic might be affecting it, but Igneel would have warned him if that were the case. There must be another reason, his biggest concern. Fortunately, his magic power growth wasn't affected. Drake thought this was enough. His power was sufficient to handle any situation before the demon's arrival. But it wasn't enough. He wasn't fast or strong enough. Drake muttered. Fugolian used Little Sun's radiance, deflecting Patry. What are you thinking? Fugolian's voice brought Drake back. Sorry, I was distracted, Drake said, creating distance from Patry. Fugolian said seriously, focus during battle. Yes. Drake regained his composure. Fugolian, relieved, focused on Patry. He'd mentally prepared all his strategies but couldn't easily defeat Patry. Patry felt the same. Fugolian was a strong, versatile opponent, and Drake was a significant obstacle. The magical space wouldn't last long. They'd face other magic knights. Their expressions changed. They moved simultaneously. The fiery lion blocked incoming light swords, but its claw shattered. Patry attacked Fugolian. Got you. Patry said. But a spiral fire pillar struck Patry's light sword. I got you, Fugolian replied. The light sword cleaved the fire pillar, but the impact weakened it. Drake appeared behind Patry but didn't attack. He opened his mouth towards the severed fire pillar. He's eating the flames. Fugolian exclaimed. Drake consumed the flames. Thank you for the meal. My power's surging. Drake, engulfed in flames, charged at Patry. What? Patry thought. He's faster. What growth rate? Drake's magic power had increased significantly. He engaged Patry in close combat. Fire Dragon's iron fist. Drake's fist missed, but his attack continued. Claw, elbow strike, wing beat, horn. Drake's kick forced Patry to duck. Drake's elbow strike, fueled by flames, enveloped Patry. Drake had landed his first hit, sending Patry flying. Drake's flaming arm swept towards Patry. As Patry reached higher ground, Drake, moving through the flames, headbutted him. Patry's calm expression changed. Numerous light swords were shattered by Drake's headbutts, sending Patry flying. More wounds appeared on Drake's shoulder, blood sprayed. But Drake grinned. How's it feel, fool? Patry crashed into the magical space's boundary. As he tried to rise, a shadow enveloped him. I'm taking over, young man, Fugolian said, his fiery lion ready to devour Patry. The flames surrounded them. Fugolian prepared for Patry's attack. Drake's attack was powerful, but Patry's magic power hadn't weakened. Patry slowly raised his head, revealing his face to Fugolian. Fugolian. You are. Fugolian, who'd told Drake to focus, was shaken. Patry's face was shocking. Patry struck Fugolian in the chest. The flames dissipated. Drake saw Patry's face change back to William Vengeance, holding a necklace. This shook Fugolian. Patry wouldn't miss this opportunity. Patry looked at Drake. That's all for today. Take this filthy royal away, consider it charity. Patry vanished into a spatial portal. The magical space crumbled. Drake chose to save the injured Fugolian, escaping the space. They fell onto the street. Captain Fugolian. Brother. Everyone saw Drake supporting Fugolian, shocked by his injuries. Drake, placing Fugolian down, clenched his teeth, looking at the blood on his hands. He lost consciousness, his body reaching its limit. The unrest in the capital was over, but it left many problems. The most serious was Captain Fugolian Vermilion's critical injuries. He remained unconscious. Fortunately, only Lodros had caused the unrest, and he was quickly defeated by Drake and Asta. They learned from the captured Eye of the Midnight Sun members that the organization was responsible for the attack. The awards ceremony meant that elite members from each squad quickly responded, minimizing the damage. Although the elites were teleported outside the city, they returned promptly, preventing the Eye of the Midnight Sun's reinforcements from eliminating the injured Fugolian and Drake. Asta, Noel, and Leobert fought to protect them before the Magic Knights returned. While Raids wasn't captured, Yuno and Charmy Papitson captured an Eye of the Midnight Sun member. Charmy had secretly followed Drake, Asta, and Noel to the capital for food and, during the chaos, ended up in the kitchen where she defeated a member attacking civilians. Drake's report, upon waking, confirmed that the Eye of the Midnight Sun's target was the magic stone on the necklace Fugolian always wore. This was confirmed by Wizard King Julius Novachrono. Julius, responsible for protecting the Clover Kingdom, hadn't appeared during the unrest because he'd gone to the Eye of the Midnight Sun's base. He'd sensed something, perhaps after the Soshi village incident. Julius was exceptionally skilled. He found and eliminated the Eye of the Midnight Sun members. Asta described Julius decimating them in a few breaths. Only when the Eye of the Midnight Sun's leader, Patry, arrived did he rescue some members and escape with a stone tablet found by Julius. Julius rescued Asta and captured a prisoner. Drake's report caused a major shock. The injured Fugolian's appearance was identical to Captain Vengeance's masked face. Few others would match that description. Drake implied that Vengeance was the attacker and the Eye of the Midnight Sun's leader. Drake hadn't seen Patry use Vengeance's face to shake Fugolian, but he wanted to disrupt Patry's plan. Would anyone believe a new Black Bull recruit accusing the Golden Dawn's captain of leading a rebellion? Who was more credible was obvious. Some believed Patry, to distract Fugolian, had disguised himself as Vengeance, framing him. Others, more cynical, believed Drake was acting out of jealousy, his accusations a malicious smear. They even suspected Drake had injured Fugolian and was a traitor. This idea was popular, especially within the Golden Dawn. They ignored the inconsistencies. How would Drake know Vengeance's face? Why did Drake defeat Lodros? Why would the Eye of the Midnight Sun try to kill Drake? They chose to believe the Black Bull commoner over their esteemed captain. If not for the Wizard King, they might have executed the injured Drake. No one believed Vengeance and Patry were the same person, their magic and grimoires were different. Drake had anticipated this. He'd only revealed what he'd witnessed. Using Asta's Demon Slayer sword, they unlocked the prisoners' memories, proving Vengeance's innocence. The Purple Orca captain had colluded with the Eye of the Midnight Sun, trading the mages guarding the capital's barrier for valuable magical tools, allowing the Eye of the Midnight Sun to infiltrate the capital. In the original timeline, the Wizard King only had Asta unlock the prisoners' memories during a later meeting. Due to Drake's report, the Wizard King summoned Asta earlier. Drake knew the mage responsible for reading memories had been replaced by one of the Dark Triad, the false Raya. Raya's magic allowed her to mimic any magic she'd seen. Using transformation and illusion magic, Raya presented altered information. The information about the magic stone, the Eye of the Midnight Sun's goals, and the Purple Orca captain's treachery was true. But Raya concealed Patry's identity. Raya didn't frame Drake. Patry, residing within Vengeance, understood the Wizard King and Yami. Accusing Drake might make them doubt the other information. Drake's goal was achieved. The Wizard King and Yami now suspected Vengeance. Vengeance's absence from the award ceremony was suspicious. Vengeance didn't defend himself, perhaps wanting to be exposed, ending his internal conflict. Others saw it as Vengeance being above such accusations or being magnanimous. The unrest subsided, but underlying tensions remained. Drake, recovered, disappeared, only Yami knew his whereabouts. A meteor of fire streaked across the sky, landing perfectly in front of the Black Bull's headquarters. The flames dissipated, revealing a figure inside. Drake let out a long breath, looking at the familiar castle. He'd lost track of time, he didn't know how long he'd been gone. It felt like only a few days, yet like a long time. He even missed the dilapidated castle. Opening the door, he saw Finral and Yami. Yo, you're back. Seems like you didn't waste your time. You're different, Yami greeted him. Drake thought Yami was perceptive, but he wanted to know what had happened. Captain Yami and Finral Senpai, are you leaving? What's going on? Finral explained. Noel contacted headquarters, Asta and Ghosh are in trouble. Children have been abducted, and the Black Bulls are closest. We're on the case. Yami moved aside, revealing Vanessa passed out on the sofa, Magna also drunk, and Charmy collapsed. As you see, they're useless. I'll go. Drake's expression turned serious. This is too convenient. He felt like fate was on his side, he'd returned just as this incident occurred. The child abduction was orchestrated by the Eye of the Midnight Sun. Patry needed magic stones and immense magic power for his forbidden magic. The mages working for the Eye of the Midnight Sun abducted children to extract their magic power. One of the children was Ghosh's sister, carrying a mirror Ghosh had created. Using its power, Ghosh and Asta, who was on vacation, found the children. After defeating two abductors, they faced the Eye of the Midnight Sun's mad scientist, Sally, and then Patry. Captain Yami, let me go. Yami laughed. You want to see how much you've improved. Come on. Finral opened a spatial portal. Finral's magic could teleport them to a location marked with magic power. Luckily, Ghosh was there. Finral used his magic power to pinpoint the target location. Asta confronted Patry and realized how strong he was. Before Asta could react, his leg was pierced by a light sword. Asta remained focused, observing his opponent. His physical training was exceptional. Even Drake, without magic, couldn't match him, especially his reflexes. But Patry's light magic was too fast. Patry noticed Asta's grimoire. Its original owner was someone he respected. Return that grimoire. Patry moved quickly, but a beam of fire struck him. Yo, we meet again. Drake stood before Asta, greeting the retreating Patry. Drake. Captain Yami. How are you here? Asta exclaimed. Lost. Could you show us the way? Yami said, his dark magic-infused blade aimed at Patry. And Drake, you stole my cool entrance. Drake stood tall. Sorry, Captain Yami, but I can't stay calm facing this guy. Yami examined Patry. This is him. The Eye of the Midnight Sun's leader who injured the earnest Great King. Yami vanished, appearing before Patry, cleaving his light swords and striking him. Patry retreated, touching his face. So, using magic to enhance your body and attacking with a sword. And dark magic to counter my light magic. Yami Sukahiro, you're troublesome. Yami took a drag of his cigarette. What? I dodged perfectly. I thought he was just underhanded, he's pretty strong. As Yami prepared to attack, Drake appeared. Hey, Drake, what are you doing? Yami asked. Drake said seriously, Captain Yami, please. Only this guy, I want to defeat him myself. Yami exhaled smoke, looking at Drake for a long time, then said, don't be reckless. If you lose, I'll take the credit without hesitation. This was Yami's way of showing concern. While he saw Drake's growth, he knew the opponent was a captain-level strongman. But he couldn't refuse Drake's request. Yes. Drake smiled, facing Patry. It's payback time. Patry hovered, looking down. Such bravado, but a mere underling, what? Before Patry finished, Drake appeared before him, punching him in the abdomen. Patry doubled over, shocked. Patry crashed into a mountainside, shattering the rocks. He stood up from the crater he'd created. Light recovery magic. Healing ray of light. Numerous light particles healed his injuries. Patry had sensed Drake's change when he appeared before Yami, but he hadn't expected this level of growth. Yami whistled. He uses recovery magic. Amazing. But what's with Drake? He's gotten too strong. While sounding joking, he felt urgency. If his subordinate surpassed him, he'd lose face. Drake changed again. Surprised. It gets better. White steam erupted from Drake. He seemed like a giant furnace, distorting the air. Tiny scales appeared on his cheeks. He looked at Patry with vertical pupils. Patry vaguely saw red dragon wings behind Drake. He wasn't facing a human but a dragon. This is a technique I created for you. Enjoy it. Drake, transforming into a red comet, sped towards Patry. Light magic. Condemnation's light sword. Patry, realizing Drake now posed a threat, attacked with full power. To his surprise, the light swords shattered upon impact with Drake. If Drake's body had been wood before, it was now the strongest alloy. While Patry was stunned, Drake approached, crushing an incoming light sword. Patry dodged Drake's kick and retreated. Drake's kick shattered the already damaged mountainside. Amidst the falling rocks, Drake looked at Patry. Thinking you can escape. Their speed was too great, others only saw two streaks of light, red and gold, colliding. Each clash sent down rocks. Luckily, Finral had already moved the injured to safety. Amazing. Asta watched, unable to see clearly. I can't see anything. If I had magic. Asta lamented. Yummy, Sirius, slapped Asta's head. Idiot, use your ki. Yami began teaching Asta about ki and its use in combat. While this, friendly, lesson was happening, Drake and Patry were nearing the end of their fight. Their final attacks shattered the cave ceiling. Drake stopped, exhaling white breath. He tore off his damaged shirt and looked at Patry. Patry's robe sleeve was burned, and he had scorch marks. He was no longer calm, his face was grim and confused. Drake said, confused. This is the result of my training after losing to you. I call it Dragon Blood Mode. 3 days after the capital's unrest, Drake, despite his injuries mostly superficial, though he'd lost a lot of blood, had recovered. He found Yami and asked about a location. The Mana Zone, Ultime Volcano Mountain Trail. In this world, areas with extremely powerful mana caused magical phenomena. Ultime Volcano Mountain Trail was a mana zone in the Clover Kingdom, its interior a hellish landscape due to concentrated fire mana. Powerful mana-burdened mages, weak mages would die simply entering. For strong mages, it was a training ground. The mana enhanced magic power and forced improvement in control, even strengthening the body. Drake came here to train. Seeing the flowing lava, he knew the first step was to climb the volcano. His initial goal was to master the technique known as magic skin, precisely controlling one's magic to constantly enhance the body and imbue it with elemental attributes. Further refinement leads to magic territory, allowing for powerful attacks surpassing one's normal capabilities. The mana zone was ideal. But Drake was more extreme, he climbed without using magic. His magic power was too high for external training, he needed the volcano's interior. He suppressed his magic, relying solely on his physical strength to withstand the mana. Since learning Dragon Slayer magic, Drake's body had developed resistance to various environments, especially heat. Ordinary flames felt like warm water. But Ultime Volcano Mountain Trail was different, the heat was from the mana. It wasn't heat but the pressure of the mana. Even Drake felt pain, his steps were heavy. His skin turned dark red, like iron in a forge. He could release his magic to alleviate the pain, but he persevered. The capital's unrest had greatly impacted Drake. His actions were beyond reproach, but he couldn't forgive himself, especially with Fugolian's injuries. Drake believed he could change the tragedy, but he couldn't. He hadn't told anyone, but he wanted to change Igneel's fate, defeating Acknowledge, the Black Dragon. But if he couldn't defeat Patry, how could he defeat Acknowledge? He could tell himself he had time to grow, that he wasn't at his peak. But thinking of Acknowledge's power, he doubted he could defeat him. In the original story, Acknowledge, consuming the power of the Time Rift, split into human and dragon forms. The dragon form was sealed using Fairy Sphere, a super magic requiring the power of all the continent's mages. The human form was defeated by Natsu and 7 peak dragon slayers. Thinking of this, Drake felt ashamed of his complacency. His sense of superiority as a time traveler vanished. The physical strain affected his mind. Various thoughts flooded him, culminating in a single sentence. I am too weak. Blood dripped, creating smoke. Drake had dug his nails into his palm. Crack. Drake heard something break inside him. In the fairy tale world, a similar fiery space. 2 lights appeared, a dragon's eyes. Awakened, at last. The dragon's voice was filled with joy and pride. Dragons are proud, but realizing one's weakness brings true pride. Acknowledge your weakness and move forward. Drake realized what had happened. His dragon seed was sprouting. A more intense power flowed through him. His dragon force was awakening. Dragon blood mode. Patry stared at Drake, his expression uncertain. The elves were a race favored by magic, but he sensed a more noble, more ferocious power in Drake. Dragon blood mode was Drake's new magic, his strongest technique. After awakening his dragon force, Drake wasn't satisfied, it needed time to mature. He considered how to strengthen himself further. 3 conditions were needed for new magic to appear in a grimoire: the mage's own growth, magic power and control, learning the relevant magical principles, and a strong wish. The 3rd condition was met. The first could be met through training and mastering magic skin. Only the second was a problem. But magical principles rely on imagination. Drake, a time traveler, could reference other worlds. He searched his memories for fire-based abilities. He remembered a world of fire users with diverse abilities, the world of Fire Force. That world used scientific theories to explain unscientific things. Flame emission and explosions were normal, high-temperature plasma beams were plausible. But time stop achieved by changing one's density to enter another universe was absurd. Drake didn't intend to develop such an ability. He referenced another character's ability. In that world, most fire users weren't powerful but skilled in fine control, leading to diverse abilities. The top fighters were Special Fire Brigade captains. Drake referenced the captain of the 1st Fire Brigade. That character could circulate heat within his body, becoming a flame embodiment, with incredible strength, speed, and defense. Plasma beams couldn't cut his skin, he shattered attacks with a stomp. It was difficult for Drake. How could he circulate such heat without harming his body? How could he use destructive flames to enhance his body without causing damage? He was injured many times during experimentation. Only after mastering magic skin did he succeed. It was different from the original ability. Even with his grimoire, Drake couldn't circulate immense heat within his body, so he used Dragon Force instead. Thus, Dragon Force, Magic Skin, and Heat Circulation principles, combined by the grimoire, created Dragon Blood mode. Unfortunately, Drake's current physical condition couldn't sustain Dragon Blood mode for long. The Dragon Force couldn't supply the magic indefinitely. The limit was 7 minutes. Patry, regaining his composure, noticed this. So, this magic burdens you. How long can you maintain it? Drake said firmly, until I defeat you. Drake, his fist engulfed in flames, approached Patry. Patry, having calmed down, wouldn't fight directly, he'd wait for Drake to exhaust himself. Light magic. Bright judgment whip. The whip sliced through everything, even Dragon Blood mode. Drake couldn't fully withstand it. Drake countered with his awakened Dragon Force, unleashing true Dragon Slayer magic. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. Patry's whip shattered under the intense flames. Drake, moving through the flames and shattered light, continued his attack. Don't get cocky. Patry, enraged by his repeated defeats and his inherent hatred of humanity, attacked. Light magic. Heavenly splitting flash. Drake dodged the beam, but it was a multi-hit attack. The second beam struck Drake, sending him flying. Drake, tumbling through the air, used his flames to stabilize himself. The dragon force circulating within his body healed his injuries. Troublesome magic, Patry muttered. Drake scoffed. Patry was in no position to comment. His light magic combined power and speed with effortless self-healing. Compared to the burdensome Dragon Blood mode, it had a significant advantage. 4 minutes left. Drake thought, unwilling to waste time. Patry's attacks continued. Drake dodged. Consecutive hits would increase the burden and shorten Dragon Blood mode's duration. The beams struck the rock face, like exploding bombs. The cave ceiling was gone, the walls were riddled with holes, the mountain was nearly collapsing. Drake understood Patry's intention and wouldn't let him succeed. Fire Dragon. Drake's face puffed out. A large magic circle formed before him, depicting a dragon's head. Roar. A small flame appeared in Drake's mouth, erupting into a massive fire pillar, illuminating the night sky. Patry's pupils constricted. The immense magic power before the attack revealed its danger. Heavenly splitting flash, while multi-hit, lacked power, it was a weaker version of another spell. To counter Drake's attack, Patry used his trump card. Light magic. Light shaft of divine punishment. This beam wasn't as bright but had a dark aura, even Patry felt overshadowed. This wasn't a decrease in power but a result of concentrating so much light that it absorbed external light. The light and fire pillars collided, not exploding or wavering but locked in a stalemate. Whoa. 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 This is bad. Yami's cigarette fell. His face was serious. Asta, who had just learned to sense ki, sweated profusely. He sensed the terrifying energy from the clashing magic. A small black dot appeared between the pillars. It grew, revealing itself as an energy black hole, consuming both attacks. The space, unable to withstand it, began to tear. Drake's magic circle dissipated. He knelt, his skin lightening, temperature dropping, and scales fading. Dragon blood mode had reached its limit. But Drake wasn't worried, he wasn't alone. All right. A tattered cloak fluttered. A strong man stood before Drake, completely shielding him. Substitution time. Good job. I'll take over, Yami said, his blade raised. Yami looked at Patry, lighting a new cigarette. Sorry, enemy commander. My juniors are fighting so hard, I won't give you a chance to recover. After Drake's battle with Patry, although his injuries were healed, he'd consumed a lot of magic power. Even elves, favored by magic, didn't have unlimited magic power. Patry's magic power had been sealed to counter the Wizard King and activate the reincarnation magic. He'd lost his composure, he gasped for breath after dodging the energy black hole. His opponent was now Yami, who was undeniably powerful. Yami could be classified as a magic swordsman, using enhancement magic to boost physical abilities and fighting with enchanted swordsmanship. His ability to predict enemy movements by reading ki further enhanced his combat prowess beyond his magic power level. Dark magic enveloped his katana. Yami, wielding the pitch black blade, severed incoming light swords. He charged towards Patry. Asta protected the immobile Drake from the light swords. Seeing Asta deflect the swords, Drake realized he'd learned to read ki. Asta had used this to defeat Volto's ki. Since realizing his weakness, Drake had been eager to learn different powers. World magic, allowing him to traverse worlds, existed for this purpose. Learning to read ki would enhance his abilities. Yami's battle was a perfect lesson. Yami, a fisherman by origin, only knew basic swordsmanship. But these basics, combined with his strength and dark magic, created a heavy, fast offensive. Patry dodged Yami's blade, constantly firing light swords. They moved through the ruins. Yami, called the god of destruction, wielded his blade with the force of a battering ram. Boom. Yami's downward strike shattered the ground. Large movements create openings. Patry saw his chance, attacking with light swords. Dark magic. Dark cloaked Avidya blunt strike. A black crescent-shaped slash destroyed the light swords and aimed for Patry's chest. Patry was caught off guard by Yami's speed and reaction time. He transformed into light particles, reappearing far away. A cut was visible on his cloak. Yami rested his sword on his shoulder. He got away. Warm-up's over, let's go all out. Warm-up. You're a significant obstacle, Patry said, opening his grimoire. Light creation magic. Bright judgment whip. The whip spread, nearly enveloping Patry. Yami raised his sword. Before we start, I have a question. Yami's usual deadpan expression turned sharp. I've found your face familiar. My junior said you showed a familiar face. Mind letting me see it? Patry, holding the whip, remained emotionless. That, a strategy to defeat Fugolian quickly. Defeating a captain isn't easy. Is that so? Yami said, the ground shattering beneath him as he leapt. I don't think so. Yami's blade clashed with Patry's whip. The ground collapsed, obscuring Asta and Drake's view. Light shone, the dust cleared, revealing the battle. The whip lashed at Yami, but his dark magic-infused blade deflected it. 4 black slashes created an opening. Yami tried to approach, but his blade was caught by the whip. Patry flung Yami to the ground. Yami, removing the whip with dark magic, launched a massive magic slash at Patry. Patry transformed into light particles, reappearing and firing light swords. Yami stood, dark magic surging. Dark magic. Black hole. The light swords were drawn into the black hole. Yami didn't pursue Patry but slashed at him as he reappeared. A light beam shattered Yami's magic. Patry approached. The light swords, at close range, were faster than Yami's reactions, cutting his arms and legs. TCH. Yami destroyed the remaining swords. The whip and black slashes tore up the ground. Yami, using the flying debris, approached Patri, swinging his sword. Got you. Patri vanished, reappearing behind Yami, his whip striking. Yami, unable to brace himself, smiled. I got you. Dark magic. Black hole. Dark binding. The whip was swallowed by the black hole. Yami's black blade struck. My magic is gone. Patri, exhausted from 2 intense battles, couldn't dodge. The black blade struck Patri, shattering the ground. Yami sheathed his sword. Got him. As he approached Patri, Yami's expression turned wary, his hand went to his sword. That magic, more guests. Spatial magic opened, revealing 3 figures. Patri, on the ground, sensed their magic power and smiled. Yan, things look pretty bad. Licht and Valtos seem to be in trouble. A languid man yawned, looking like he could fall asleep at any moment. Well, even I, who hate trouble, have to help my friends. With that, he used the same magic as Patri, teleporting to Yami's side. Mimicry magic, capable of using any magic the user has seen. This magic was perfectly suited to its user, the false Raya, one of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, a reincarnated elf from 500 years ago. Because the Eye of the Midnight Sun's reincarnation magic was more complete, their magic power was stronger. A very unique pattern. Oh well, it's unimportant. Raya reached out and touched Yami's grimoire, genuinely curious. Dark magic. Dark cloaked Avidya blunt strike. Yami unleashed a swift, precise strike, so fast that even Raya, mimicking light magic, couldn't dodge. Ouch, that's troublesome. But this little wound will heal right up. Raya sighed, using recovery magic on himself. Light recovery magic. Healing ray of light. Raya retreated, his provocation wasn't random. As he moved, the other 2 rescued Patri and Valtos. Patri relaxed, addressing the girl before him. You've come. I'm sorry, I couldn't defeat them alone. The pink-haired girl, her eyes filled with emptiness, gently asked, Licht, does it hurt? Fana, it doesn't hurt anymore now that you're here. Patri replied. The girl, also one of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, was Fana, the embodiment of hatred, the opposite of love. It's all right now. Flame recovery magic. Phoenix's feather robe. Blazing flames enveloped Patri, not burning him but healing his injuries. I'm relieved you're here. Licht said from within the flames. Raya yawned. Licht, it's troublesome to shoulder everything alone. Fana added, I hate those who hurt Licht. Finally, the lion-like man, Beto, the last of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, spoke. You insignificant ants dared to hurt my friend. I'll crush you like ants, tear off your wings like a butterfly. Even Asta, unable to sense magic, felt the 3 emanating a dangerous aura. Yami and Drake sensed their immense, malevolent magical power. Patri said proudly, let me introduce them. They are the 3 strongest members of the Eye of the Midnight Sun. Strongest. Asta couldn't believe it. He'd witnessed Patri's strength. 3 stronger individuals were unimaginable. Yes. In certain situations, their strength surpasses even mine. Your Clover Kingdom, as its name suggests, uses the clover as a symbol. The clover leaves represent honesty, hope, and love. Their names represent the opposite, the false Raya, the despairing Beto, and the hateful Fana. Yami took his cigarette from his mouth. Such intimidating names, but names don't determine strength. Is that so? Raya yawned. Then let's show you, though it's troublesome. Raya produced a katana made of dark magic, mirroring Yami's stance. Dark magic's weakness is its slow speed, but this wasn't a problem for Raya. With a flash, Raya used light magic to close the distance. Mimicry magic. Dark cloaked Avidya blunt strike. You call yourself the false Raya. Don't steal other people's magic, or I'll sue you for copyright infringement. Yami countered with the same dark cloaked Avidya blunt strike. The 2 black slashes collided and cancelled each other out. Asta was debating whether to help when Drake grabbed him and pulled him back. Beast magic. Bear claw. Asta heard a deafening boom. Beto had obliterated the spot where they'd been standing. Yami wouldn't leave Asta or the weakened Drake vulnerable to Beto. Yami's attack smashed through the ground, but Beto had already dodged. Yami frowned. He sensed Beto hadn't used magic power perception. He'd used ki sensing, just like Yami. Beast magic was Beto's powerful magic. As the name suggests, it granted him beastly abilities. Beasts possess superior danger perception. Beto innately possessed the key sensing ability. But that wasn't Beto's most terrifying aspect. Dodging Yami's attack, he savagely counterattacked. Beto's magic-infused hands clashed with Yami's blade, creating a grating sound. The man fought like a true beast, his fighting style and strength incredibly powerful. Beast magic. Bear claw. Beto incorporated the essence of a beast's destructive power into his magic, a fitting representation of his name, Despair. To Yami's surprise, Beto's bear claw tore through the dark magic on his blade and shattered his katana. Come, little mice. Let me see your despair. It's the best seasoning when I eat you. Yami leapt back to Asta and Drake, looking at his broken sword. That sword was custom made, super expensive. You're paying for that. I haven't finished paying it off yet. Perhaps unwilling to listen to Yami's rambling, Fana attacked. The red creature on her shoulder sprayed flames at Yami. Drake's eyes lit up, he shielded Yami. The flames spread, obscuring the eye of the midnight sun's view. Strangely, swallowing sounds came from the flames. The flames diminished, the eye of the midnight sun saw Drake swallowing them. Yami took a drag of his cigarette. Hey, can you do that? That's totally cheating. Drake's depleted magic power rapidly recovered. After consuming the last flame, Drake wiped his mouth. Thanks for the meal. Powers surging. He looked at the red creature on Fana's shoulder. It was tilting its head, confused about the disappearance of its flames. The creature had 4 legs and 2 wings, small but with scales. A salamander. Drake knew exactly what it was. A salamander, one of the 4 elemental elves, represented fire. It was also called a fire lizard or fire dragon. Natsu's title in fairy tale was salamander. This salamander looked like a young dragon. I want that one, Drake thought. As the son of the fire dragon king, salamander was perfect for him. Wow. It's the ocean, exclaimed Asta, a country boy who'd never seen the sea. Yahoo! So many girls in swimsuits. Let's go chat them up, shouted the lecherous Finral. Marie, this is the ocean. Let's get cozy here next time, sis, declared the ever-doting Gauche. I'm fired up. I'll swim my heart out wearing these loincloths Captain Yami loves, yelled the enthusiastic Magna. Luck was using sparks to set Magna's loincloth on fire, chasing after the burning Magna. Vanessa was lounging on a beach chair, enjoying a cold drink. Charmy was engrossed in a watermelon game. Gray was transforming into different people, enjoying himself. Noelle was fidgeting, she'd carefully chosen her swimsuit. Her Tsunere nature was acting up, she wanted Asta to see her but was too shy to say so. Drake rubbed his head, looking at the chaotic beach. Do these guys think we're on vacation? Did they forget the mission? The Black Bulls weren't here for fun, they had a crucial mission. This mission stemmed from the previous events. The fight against the Dark Triad hadn't continued. 3 Magic Knight captains had intervened. Nozzle Silva, Silver Eagles, Jack the Ripper, Green Mantis, and Charlotte Rosalie, Azure Deer. Unlike the former Purple Orca captain, these 3 were powerful fighters, comparable to Yami. While Patry boasted that the Dark Triad surpassed the captains, the situation was unfavorable for the Eye of the Midnight Sun. The most problematic was Fana being completely countered by Drake, he alone kept her occupied. Patry, having used a lot of magic power, couldn't help. There were 4 captains, Raya and Beto couldn't handle them. Patry and the Dark Triad had more important missions and chose to retreat after a probing engagement. The captains and Drake wanted to stop them, but they couldn't. This event significantly impacted the current mission. The Magic Knights hadn't initially taken the Eye of the Midnight Sun seriously. In this world, magic power was decisive. The Eye of the Midnight Sun had only revealed a small part of their strength during the capital's unrest. They were seen as underhanded, scheming troublemakers who'd injured Fugolian. Such individuals weren't uncommon in the Knight's history, they weren't considered serious enemies. With Fugolian still unconscious, Drake's report, as a low-ranking mage, wasn't taken seriously. This battle revealed the Eye of the Midnight Sun's threat to the Clover Kingdom. The Magic Knights took them seriously, the recent captains' meeting focused on countering them. From the prisoners, Wizard King Julius learned the Eye of the Midnight Sun's target, magic stones. He'd found a stone tablet with embedded magic stones at their base. The Eye of the Midnight Sun needed to gather them to use a dangerous magic spell. They only needed 3 more stones. Drake knew where they were. One was with Asta, from the Soshi village mission, one was with the Witch Queen in the Witch's Forest, and the third, whose location Julius had learned from a prisoner, was in an underwater temple in a mana zone. There was also a 4th stone, crucial for the demon's resurrection, currently around Yuno's neck. Julius couldn't be sure if other squads had Eye of the Midnight Sun infiltrators. He trusted the Black Bulls the most, so the mission fell to Yami's squad. This crucial mission was treated like a paid vacation. Yami had to bury everyone in the sand to get them to focus. But Drake facepalmed. Why am I treated the same? Drake hadn't been goofing off, he'd been gathering information about the underwater temple. Yet, Yami buried him in the sand. Yami scratched his head. I just buried you too. Don't worry about it, the mission's important. He was changing the subject. Before Drake could speak, Yami began briefing them, cutting him off. Listen up, idiots. I've gathered intel. The underwater temple is in this sea. The mana-induced currents are too strong, even high-level mages can't approach. But only on the night of the full moon, when the mana weakens, might we be able to enter. The buried members weren't focused on the intel but on. Captain Yami is actually working. They were shocked. Yami working seriously was unbelievable. His usual lackadaisical attitude was deeply ingrained. I'll kill you all. Yami yelled. Drake smiled. He guessed why Yami was serious. After the captain's meeting, Julius had kept Yami, Asta, and Drake, giving Yami the mission. Yami, usually informal, had saluted Julius. After telling Julius, I want to prove you weren't wrong, even Yami wouldn't slack off. Yami, unaware of Drake's insight, continued. The temple is underwater, it's usually inaccessible. Noel, you'll use your magic to take us there. Noel was shocked. Sea Dragon's Nest. That requires precise magic control. I can't do it. Let someone else do it. If I fail. If you fail, we'll all be swept away and drown, Yami calmly stated. This is a top-secret mission for the Black Bulls only, no one can replace you. You'll do it. The next full moon is in a week. Surpass your limits. For a week, Noelle underwent intense training. But the day before the full moon, she still couldn't control her magic. As the mission approached, Noelle grew anxious. Magic control couldn't be rushed. The water wall fluctuated, collapsing. She'd failed again. It hurts. Noelle saw Asta running with a greatsword, a crab pinched between his toes. This idiot. Still the same, Noelle muttered, relaxing. Asta saw Noelle. Noelle's here. I'm training too, let's do it together. Like before, if you lose control, I'll stop you. HMPH. It won't happen again, but training together, if you really want to. Noelle's Sunere nature emerged. Drake sighed. Shish. Someone silenced Drake. The Black Bulls, except Yami, were watching Noelle and Asta. Vanessa touched her face. They're so young. When did this start? Magna whispered, what started? What happened between Asta and Noelle? Vanessa sighed. They're children. Don't you sense the special atmosphere? Drake stroked his chin. It wouldn't be easy for them to start. And it was strange that the Black Bulls would even think about it. Something's wrong. Drake realized he'd been sidetracked. Everyone was here to help Noelle, not gossip. This squad is problematic in every way. In Drake's previous world, the ocean wasn't as idyllic as it appeared in images. The deep sea, deprived of sunlight, was perpetually dark. Darkness is humanity's deepest fear, the origin of thalassophobia and abyssphobia. But this was a world with magic, and the ocean was a renowned mana zone. Upon entering the seabed, there was no visual obstruction, the water seemed to glow. While appreciating the beautiful underwater scenery, Drake also kept an eye on Noelle. Although they'd reached the underwater temple in the original story, Drake wasn't entirely reassured. He was still a little uneasy underwater. Noelle had mastered a new spell the day before, Sea Dragon's Cradle, an advanced version of Sea Dragon's Nest. Her poor magic control stemmed from her immense magic power, she subconsciously suppressed it. It's like trying to lift your hand while simultaneously pressing it down, the action wouldn't be smooth. The problem was psychological, something training couldn't solve. With guidance from the mysterious girl, Kahono, and her friend's support, Noelle overcame her psychological issues and mastered the new spell. Drake strongly suspected that Asta's influence alone was greater than everyone else's combined. Perhaps this was his power as the protagonist of this world, always guiding those around him to overcome their doubts. Regarding Kahono, the aspiring idol, Drake knew she was from the underwater temple, the granddaughter of the high priestess. Her ability to easily reach the surface outside the full moon indicated she knew how to freely enter and exit the temple. However, to allow Noelle to grow, Drake didn't interfere. They descended, the scenery changed. But underwater whirlwinds were terrifying. Drake clearly sensed the immense mana within the storms. No mage's magic could surpass natural mana. This was a mana zone. Drake had no doubt that the mana-formed storm could easily tear them apart, even weakened by the full moon. But this was also fortunate, the mana dispersed the water flow. Although everyone in Noelle's magic felt like they were on a roller coaster, the journey was surprisingly easier. After passing through the mana storm, they entered a new, more fantastical world. Through Noelle's magic, they could clearly see the seabed. The seabed was full of strangely shaped rocks, covered with various corals and seaweed. The most amazing thing was the marine life. Perhaps due to the abundant mana, these fish and shrimp had evolved into more fantastic forms. A fish with a prominent head bump swam past, it glowed. Such creatures were abundant here, they would be unique elsewhere. That might be delicious, Charmy drooled, already preparing to catch one. Drake shivered, Charmy was just like his old countrymen. Those strangely shaped fish looked like they were nuclear radiated, Drake wouldn't dare eat them. Amidst the wondrous sights, they reached their destination. But a final obstacle lay between them and the underwater temple. The ocean was the temple's strongest barrier, but the full moon made it accessible to many. The temple's inaccessibility was primarily due to the barrier magic before them. Countless whirlpools intertwined, forming a massive dome. The whirlpools encircled a large area of the seabed, with the underwater temple within. No wonder the underwater temple was called a forbidden place, this barrier magic alone could stop 99% of mages. Drake sensed that this barrier magic was different from the Clover kingdoms, its energy source was the natural mana of the mana zone, self-sustaining and seemingly flawless. The best way to pass was through spatial magic to teleport directly through the barrier. However, this required high levels of magic power and spatial magic proficiency. Finral certainly couldn't do it. But the Black Bulls had another method. Yami pointed at Asta. Your turn, kid. Use your anti-magic sword to cut it. Asta turned to Yami. Captain Yami. I just realized something incredible. Asta turned, looking embarrassed. I can't swim at all. You don't need to swim. Yami, unfazed, grabbed Asta's collar and hoisted him up. To everyone's astonishment, Yami's muscles bulged as he threw Asta. Ah! Asta, creating a trail of water, smashed into the barrier. Whether to admire Yami's strength or Asta's lung capacity underwater was debatable. As Asta was about to hit the barrier, he drew the Demon Slayer sword and cut an opening. Before the barrier could close, Noelle led everyone through. The barrier not only protected the underwater temple but also kept the water out, creating a livable space. Yami casually said to Asta, good job. He turned to their final destination, the others followed. Oh, that's the underwater temple. It was called a temple, but the long, spinning stone structure didn't look human-made, it looked more like it was naturally sculpted by water erosion over time. Even the most inept architect wouldn't create something so uneven. Drake's eyesight was excellent, he clearly saw doors and windows on the stone towers. Clearly, people lived in the temple. Drake turned to warn Yami but saw him pulling out a cake, to bribe Charmy. Charmy, bribed, used her cotton magic. They floated towards the central tower on cotton clouds. That was the true underwater temple. The underwater temple's inhabitants weren't hostile, they were welcoming. Wow! Visitors from the surface. How rare. Everyone, we have visitors. That cloak, aren't you magic knights? 10 years since our last visitors. Tell us about the surface world. Amidst the welcoming crowd, Asta exclaimed, I thought it would be dangerous like the magic palace. Yami took a drag of his cigarette. Well, imagination and reality differ. Vanessa, dealing with the enthusiastic crowd, said, let's find someone who knows about the magic stones. Yami, in his typical boss-like manner, said, then, call this temple's boss out. The inhabitants, unafraid, mimicked Yami. You mean the high priest? Another enthusiastically guided them. To find the high priest, just climb the stairs over there. The casual disclosure of such important information made one wonder about the inhabitants' naivete. But their enthusiasm didn't fool Drake, he sensed they weren't as friendly as they seemed. It felt like children pouring hot water on an anthill, pure, innocent malice. Did they not realize they were leading the Black Bulls to the most dangerous part of the temple? Perhaps they didn't think it was wrong. It didn't matter to the Black Bulls. The magic stones were here, there was no turning back. Drake paused, something was wrong. Shouldn't they cautiously gather information and strategize? Why did he want to charge in? Had he been assimilated by the Black Bulls? Before Drake could speak, the temple's large, shell-encrusted stone door opened. A figure was visible within. Suddenly, a huge creature emerged, eel-like but with an anglerfish-like head. A monster. Asta and Noel screamed, but others reacted faster. Fireballs, lightning, and beams struck the creature, knocking it down. What's that big, ugly thing? Magna, Luck, and Ghosh asked simultaneously. Ho ho ho. Interesting people have arrived. The figure from before approached, revealing an old man with long hair, eyebrows, and beard, his mustache giving him a somewhat lecherous look. Welcome to the underwater temple. I am the high priest, he introduced himself. Charmy, drooling over the defeated monster, noticed it disintegrating into bite-sized pieces. Interesting, monster drops materials. Drake, knowing the high priest's magic, guessed. The corpse vanished before Charmy could eat it. The high priest said proudly, that's my magic. The high priest's magic was game magic, allowing him to set game rules within a designated area. Everyone, including the high priest, had to follow them. This magic involved rules and was illogical. Various magic abilities could be used within the area, such as traps, spatial magic, or even creation magic, as seen with the monster. His powerful magic placed him far above a typical senior magic knight. Unfortunately, as the name suggested, the high priest treated everything as a game. Perhaps this was why he had game magic. But this attitude prevented him from becoming truly strong. You're after the magic stones. Want to play a game? The high priest approached Vanessa and Noel, his lecherous look intensifying. A massage game. After being punched by Noel, the high priest became slightly more serious. Magna said impatiently, old man. We don't have time for games. Why do you know about the magic stones? The high priest said mysteriously, ho ho ho. My eyesight is excellent. You want the magic stones, don't you? Should we just beat him up and take them? That's the fastest way. Kill him. Great. That old man looks strong. A fight would be fun. Asta stopped the violent trio. What are you talking about? Magic knights don't do that. Meanwhile, the lazy trio were nearly completely relaxed. Finral. That old man's not ordinary, let's avoid trouble. Vanessa. Yawn. I'm sleepy. Charmy. Where do we eat? High priest. Win the game, and besides the magic stones, I'll host a feast. There will be the temple's most beautiful women, fine wine, and delicious food. Lazy trio. Let's play. With their enthusiasm ignited, Yami said, fine, old man. I'll be your opponent. Cards or dice? The high priest smiled, raising his hand. The game is Temple Battle Royale. The group was confused. Game magic. Underwater temple reformation. The high priest opened his grimoire. Magical energy surged. 9 openings appeared behind him. Temple mages, come on. 9 figures appeared, standing behind the high priest. They wore robes like his but with various sea creature masks. Their magic power was strong, at the senior magic knight level. The high priest excitedly announced, all right, let's begin. Water enveloped everyone. Drake didn't sense danger and let it happen. After the water receded, Drake found himself in a cavern, hearing the high priest's voice. The rules are simple. You'll face 9 temple mages. There are 10 of you, consider it a bonus. Knock your opponent unconscious to win, forfeits also count as wins. The team with the most remaining members after an hour wins. You can fight one-on-one or team up. But I'll use interference magic, so be careful. Drake stretched his wrists, sensing his surroundings. So fast. 4 magical energies vanished. 4 battles had already ended. Drake wasn't worried about Black Bull's members being among the defeated. That sent. My opponent has appeared. Drake muttered, his gaze falling on a figure emerging from a passage. The figure wore a hammerhead shark mask. He was the strongest temple mage. Looks like I hit the jackpot. Drake exclaimed. Drake had found a worthy opponent. The man with the hammerhead shark mask was the strongest in the underwater temple, aside from the high priest. He was the high priest's son, Kahono's father, and the temple's chief priest, Geo. Geo said to Drake, sorry to make you play this silly game with my old man. But I haven't met surface mages in a long time, I wanted to have some fun. Your magic power is immense, you're the strongest here. My luck is good. Strongest. Drake said noncommittally. Don't underestimate the Black Bull seniors. But speaking of luck, mine's not bad either. Drake's fists crackled with flames. Geo said with a hint of concern, a fire magic mage. That's a disadvantage in this underwater temple. Incidentally, I'm a water magic mage. Geo opened his grimoire, water swirled around him. The battle began. Water creation magic. See God's hammer. A giant water hand formed, with a hammer the size of a small mountain. The hammer swung towards Drake. Geo wasn't exaggerating, the environment significantly affected a mage's power. Mages, especially those using nature magic, draw upon natural mana. The more abundant the mana, the stronger the magic. Conversely, a lack of mana requires more magic power to achieve the same effect. Water mana was abundant in the underwater temple, fire mana was scarce. Geo's magic was at least 30% stronger here. Fortunately, Drake wasn't a pure fire mage. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. Drake's flames collided with the water hammer, creating a massive cloud of steam. Impressive. Geo exclaimed, impressed by Drake's ability to counter his magic. The steam dispersed. Drake, engulfed in flames, closed the distance and punched Geo. Water creation magic. See God's shield. Drake's punch shattered the shield. Drake didn't pursue the retreating Geo, he shook his head in disappointment. Geo was far weaker than expected. He had immense magic power, but that didn't equate to compatibility. The inhabitants had said it had been 10 years since a surface mage had visited. The temple inhabitants weren't allowed in the town. Geo's opponents were mostly the temple priests. Real combat differed from play, this strongest mage lacked experience. The same was true for the other priests, 4 had been eliminated at the start of the game. As Drake prepared to end the battle, he sniffed. That scent. Drake frowned, his keen sense of smell detected a familiar scent, Veto's. Veto's magic power appeared, he'd arrived. Drake wasn't surprised, Veto had entered the temple in the original story to obtain the magic stones. What surprised Drake was the smell of blood. Drake remembered that to reach the underwater temple, one had to pass through the coastal town of Riquet. Being near the beach, it was a vacation spot for royalty, nobles, and magic knights. Veto must have encountered magic knights in Riquet, and, given his personality, he likely didn't just pass by. Drake disliked Veto's actions. He understood Veto's hatred of humanity, they'd hurt his comrades out of base desires. But Veto, controlled by demonic magic, was a madman, Drake would defeat him without hesitation. Drake heard Yami's voice, Geo stopped attacking. Attention. A troublesome guy, an Eye of the Midnight Sun executive, strong as a captain, a wild man, has infiltrated the game. He has 3 subordinates. I can't get to you, so figure it out yourselves. Push your limits. If you die, I'll kill you. Drake smiled. The Black Bull captain was still chaotic, but Drake didn't mind. The High Priest's voice followed. Game change. No time limit. Defeat the Eye of the Midnight Sun team to win. Those who contribute will have their wishes granted within my authority. Drake turned to Geo. Still fighting. I'm in a hurry to defeat someone else. If you persist, I won't hold back. Geo shook his head. Big talk, kid. But since the old man said so, defeating the Eye of the Midnight Sun executive is the priority. Drake's flame wings spread, he flew towards a passage, where Veto's scent and blood were strongest. A chain appeared, aimed at Drake. Lock magic. Scorpio chain. Drake dodged, but the chain followed. Annoying. I'm in a hurry. Drake struck the chain away. Drake finally saw his attacker, a stereotypical henchman with a large, awkward face and unkempt hair. He said, smugly, with me, the Eye of the Midnight Sun's top lock magic user, you're finished. Drake wanted to ask how many lock magic users the Eye of the Midnight Sun had. But the situation was tense, he focused on defeating his opponent quickly. He sensed Beto and others were nearby. Asta had paid a heavy price to defeat Beto in the original story, nearly losing his hands. Drake wouldn't let that happen. The chains lashed out like venomous snakes, shattering rocks as they pursued Drake relentlessly. So persistent, Drake muttered. He wanted to finish this quickly, but the self-proclaimed, second best, mage was indeed strong. As a sacrifice for Patri's forbidden magic, the Eye of the Midnight Sun members possessed considerable magic power. This mage's lock magic was impressive in attack, defense, and speed, definitely at the senior magic knight level. Crucially, Drake couldn't use powerful techniques like Dragon Blood mode, needing to conserve his strength for Beto. Drake's hesitation emboldened his opponent. What's wrong? What's wrong? You'll be caught by my chains. Drake paused, not because he was angered but because he realized he was wasting time. Unleashing his full speed, Drake left the chains far behind. Dragon Slayer magic. Fire Dragon's Claw. Drake's kick struck the tangled chains. The chains formed a cocoon, defending against his attack. Useless. Useless. You can't break through my chains. The lock magic user taunted. Break through. Don't be ridiculous. I have enough magic power. Then, Drake took 2 steps back, a red magic circle appeared. Fire Dragon's Roar. A massive fire pillar engulfed the chain cocoon, turning the defense into an oven. A scream came from within, lasting only a few seconds. Drake ended the spell, ignoring the charred remains and pursuing Beto. He saw the end of the dark passage, he sped up. The area opened up, revealing the battlefield. Only Beto and Noelle remained. Noelle pointed her staff at Beto, preparing a spell. Her expression was serious and determined, immense magic power formed water around her staff. I'll defeat you. Water creation magic. Sea Dragon's Roar. Immense magic power transformed into a giant water dragon, attacking Beto. Drake saw the fallen Asta and the bleeding Kahono, her brother had a severed leg. Luck and Magna were also injured. Noelle's ability to use an offensive spell was due to the dire situation. The water dragon bit into Beto's bare claw, pushing him back. After the water dragon crashed through a rock wall, Beto was revealed. I did it. Noelle gasped, excited. Beto's right arm was gone, part of his body was destroyed. Noelle was elated. Drake descended, shielding the exhausted Noelle. Good job. My turn. Noelle looked puzzled, but then sensed a terrifying magic power. The heavily injured Beto didn't fall, ominous magic power erupted from him. Beto raised his head, an eye opened on his forehead. He resembled a destructive demon god, sending chills down Drake's spine. Grinning, revealing sharp teeth, Beto said, "You summoned me, humans." Beast magic. LSPHPXed. Drake didn't understand the ancient magic, but its effect was clear. A magic circle appeared on Beto's wound, his flesh regenerated rapidly, a new arm appeared. Healing magic had limits, it could only heal wounds. Beto's regeneration was unprecedented. Ancient curse magic. The magic power is incredible, Drake said, gathering his own magic. Beto extended his hand. This is my gift. Explode. Beast magic. SX. A magic circle opened, a beast's head emerged, unleashing a purple beam at them. Legendary beast saliva is poisonous, Drake didn't want to experience that. Fire Dragon's Roar. Drake's fire pillar clashed with the purple beam, locked in a stalemate. Both dissipated, shattering nearby rocks. Now, the true despair begins. Beto roared. But before that, I'll clean up the trash. Beast magic. SX. The beast's head reappeared, unleashing a beam towards Kahono. Drake didn't move to save her. I knew you wouldn't stay down. The beam carved a long mark in the ground, but it was severed. Asta, wielding the demon slayer sword, appeared. His right hand hung limply, an injury from the previous fight, but without any curse magic. True despair. We haven't given up. You said not giving up was my weakness, but it's our only weapon. Asta declared. Beto laughed cruelly. Is that so? I'll show you its uselessness. Beast magic. Curse-infused magic formed fangs, shooting down towards everyone. But threads ensnared them, pulling them aside, just avoiding the attack. Even Beto was entangled. Oh my. This fuzzy guy is the amazing guy the captain mentioned. Should we get drunk? Vanessa said, approaching. Drake smiled. Asta had unknowingly influenced many. Magna, Luck, and even Vanessa had become stronger. Even Finral's magic power had stopped moving, he'd finally accepted himself. So incredibly passionate. But I'm fired up too. Drake smiled. Dragon Blood Mode, activate. The battle was about to begin. On one side was Beto, one of the Dark Triad and an executive of the Eye of the Midnight Sun. On the other were Vanessa, Asta, and Drake of the Black Bulls, with Finral hidden in the shadows, 4 against 1. While the numbers seemed overwhelmingly in Beto's favor, battles weren't solely about numbers. Beto, like a raging beast, exuded an aura that overwhelmed the Black Bulls. Vanessa's threads were easily broken by his magic. But Beto's momentum was quickly countered when Drake activated Dragon Blood Mode. The heated air created currents, lifting Drake's dragon scale scarf. His eyes turned vertical, like a dragon spotting its prey. In an instant, Drake was before Beto. Their fists collided, creating a suffocating shockwave. Flames behind Drake formed a dragon, roaring at the beastly shadow behind Beto. The ground shattered under the force of their clash. Fool humans, despair. Beto roared, slowly overpowering Drake. Drake's arm bent, but his face showed no panic. We won't despair. Flames enveloped Drake's arm, preventing it from bending further. He gathered his strength and sent Beto flying. He continued his assault. Fire Dragon's roar. The fire pillar engulfed Beto. It was unimaginable that anyone could survive such intense flames. Amazing. Vanessa and Asta smiled. Finral, hidden in the shadows, was relieved that the battle was ending without his intervention. Beto, covered in smoke, fell but didn't collapse, he stood firmly. Let me show you true despair. To everyone's astonishment, Beto's severe burns rapidly healed. Drake wasn't surprised. Beto's magic flow was similar to Dragon Blood Mode. Drake's dragon force enhanced his combat abilities. Beto's magic gave him beast-like vitality and rapid self-healing. Facing an invincible opponent was despair-inducing, but Drake showed no sign of giving up. If that level of flame isn't enough. Drake's flames intensified. Then I'll increase it to the point of incinerating you. Magic power surged from Beto's right arm, forming a monstrous claw. Insect, talking big. Drake leapt, dodging the claw, it shattered rocks, sending them flying towards him. Beto aimed at the rocks and Drake. A beast's head emerged from the magic circle. But Drake, engulfed in flames, smashed through the rocks, appearing before Beto like a falling meteor. He shattered the beast's head in the magic circle with a single punch. Beto was surprised by Drake's strength and ferocity but laughed. You're different from ordinary fire mages, you excel in close combat. If I break your arms and legs, you'll despair. Drake responded with a fire dragon's iron fist. Try it if you can. The punch sent Beto reeling, but he quickly recovered, his burns healing instantly. The healing speed slowed. Drake noticed. Drake suspected Beto's curse magic originated from the demon who truly reincarnated him. Only demons possessed such ominous power. This demonic power prevented ordinary magic from stopping his self-healing. Asta's anti-magic had worked in the original story because it countered even netherworld demons. Anti-magic was created to kill demons. Drake's world magic enhanced his dragon slayer magic. It wasn't as strong as Asta's anti-magic, but it wasn't useless. World magic wasn't strengthened through training but by traversing worlds. Drake had only traversed 2 worlds, its power wasn't strong yet. But this battle wasn't unwinnable. He needed to defeat Beto. Drake's attacks became sharper. Beto, his limbs infused with magic power, fought back fiercely. That's not human combat, Vanessa said grimly. They fought like a lion and a fire dragon, tearing at each other. Beto endured Drake's punches and swatted him away. Spitting out blood, Drake dispelled the curse magic from Beto's attack. Beto must have noticed the peculiarity of Drake's attacks. Beto was surprised by his difficulty in healing, his magic power consumption increasing. Neither gave ground, they charged again. Fire Dragon's wing beat. Drake unleashed 2 fiery whips. Beto caught them and tore them apart. He retaliated with magic fangs. Drake dodged the fangs, accelerating until he left a trail of fire. Don't get cocky, trash. Veto roared, his magic power becoming more ominous. Drake kicked the magic claw, the force threatened to break his leg bones. Drake gritted his teeth. Power-ups weren't just for protagonists. His dragon force and magic power were depleting faster than expected, Dragon Blood mode's duration was shortening. But there was no turning back. He had to give everything. Drake fought wildly, exchanging blows. Vanessa saw Asta step forward with his sword. Asta, what are you doing? Asta gritted his teeth. Drake's giving everything. I can't just watch. I'll help him. Vanessa shook her head. We can't interfere in that kind of fight. So what? Asta said resolutely. I won't give up. Not Drake, not this mission. Vanessa smiled. I understand. Let's fight together. Blood trickled down Drake's forehead, instantly vaporized by his intense body heat. The wound quickly healed thanks to the dragon force. Drake felt weakness, the dragon force was fading. Dragon Blood mode would last about 3 minutes more. Although training had extended its duration to 15 minutes, the intensity of this battle was far greater. Drake's attacks became even more ferocious, desperate to defeat Veto before Dragon Blood mode ended. After taking several punches, Veto retreated, laughing. Sensing Drake's urgency, he sneered, an ant is an ant. You've lasted this long, I'll give you that. But it's time for you to despair. No matter how you struggle, the outcome won't change. Drake exhaled, his face serious. The difference in magic power between him and the curse-strengthened elf was significant. With more time and world magic enhancement, Drake's magic power would eventually catch up. But the current gap was insurmountable, he was nearing his limit. Just as he was about to succumb, the waning flames reignited. Drake laughed. In the Black Bulls, I learned the most important thing, this is the perfect time to push my limits. And you forgot something, I'm never alone. Asta. Veto's eyes widened, he sensed an approaching presence. I've been waiting, Drake. Asta's Demon Slayer sword sliced across Veto's shoulder, drawing blood. Veto, incredibly agile, dodged a more vital strike. Blood flowed, but the wound didn't heal. Everyone realized Asta was their hope. Veto, sensing Asta's threat, attacked. Beast Magic. SX. Veto targeted Asta. Asta severed the beam with his sword, but Veto was distracted by Drake's attack. Fire Dragon's Blazing Inferno. A searing fireball struck Veto, burning him, but the magic claw tore through the flames. Veto emerged, his burns healing, but Asta's cut continued bleeding. Asta attacked relentlessly. Veto sneered, the same tactic wouldn't work twice. Anti-magic would sever ranged attacks, Veto expected close combat. Asta's approach was reckless. Veto dodged Asta's blade and attacked with his magic claw. But Asta, incredibly, flew sideways, avoiding the claw. No magic could cause such movement. Veto knew Asta lacked magic power. Veto's gaze fell on Vanessa. Is that woman behind this? Vanessa smiled, showing her magic threads. This space is filled with my magic threads, I'll support Asta. The injured Asta, besides his anti-magic sword, couldn't fight Veto. One hit would kill him. But with Vanessa, Asta could attack freely, her magic handled evasion. Clever tricks. Veto's speed increased, he pounced on Asta. Before he reached Asta, a flaming fist struck him. I'm your opponent. Don't be distracted. Veto and Drake exchanged blows rapidly. Asta attacked from Veto's left, injuring him before Vanessa pulled him away from Veto's counterattack. Drake kicked Veto back. Insects, you dare resist me. This angers me. Veto's magic power surged. Drake and Asta exchanged glances, attacking together. Drake blocked Veto's claw, Asta slashed him away. Drake followed with a kick. Asta struck again. The Demon Slayer sword pierced Veto, but not fatally. Veto wanted this opportunity. As Veto prepared to attack Asta, Drake blocked his claw. Vanessa pulled Asta away. Drake retreated, the dragon scales from Dragon Blood mode faded. He knelt. Dragon Blood mode ended, he entered a weakened state. Two fighters, one without Dragon Blood mode, one without his sword, were effectively incapacitated. Despite the sword wound, Veto was excited. Ants. Without that magic, without the anti-magic sword, all your hope will become despair. 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 Asta said, his expression unchanged. It's not over. Veto's face contorted. Why aren't you despairing? Roaring, Beto pursued Asta. Threads pulled Asta back, but Beto's speed surpassed them. As Beto was about to catch Asta, a spatial portal appeared behind Asta. It closed after Asta entered, leaving Beto empty-handed. A portal opened beside Vanessa. Asta tumbled out, bruised but alive. Drake smiled. Finral Senpai, you're late. Finral appeared beside Asta. I'm your senior, show some respect. But with me here, no one will die. Mirror magic. Reflect ray. Beams rained down on Beto. A giant creature appeared behind Beto. Cotton magic. Sleeping sheep strike. A giant, bipedal sheep punched Beto into the ground, continuing its assault. 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits, tragedy. The sheep sent Beto flying. 3 figures appeared on a high platform. Ghosh shouted, and us. Asta exclaimed, see. This is the Black Bulls. We'll defeat you together. Countless spatial portals opened. Finral showcased exceptional spatial magic, his precision among the best. With Finral's assistance, Vanessa helped Asta move with incredible speed and agility. Asta, moving rapidly, retrieved his Demon Slayer sword and struck Beto. Asta, believe in us. Go all out. Vanessa and Finral shouted simultaneously. Reappearing from a portal, Asta yelled, I already do. He charged at Beto without hesitation. As Beto prepared to attack, a new portal appeared before Asta. Asta entered and reappeared behind Beto. Drake smiled. The Demon Slayer sword had been in Beto for a while, depleting his magic power. His enhancement magic had also weakened. His perception and reaction speed had decreased. Before Beto could react, Asta's sword fell. Beto, having dodged, sustained a minor wound. He noticed the abnormality and looked at the Demon Slayer sword embedded in his abdomen. I thought I'd taken his weapon, it was me who lost it. Beto, in pain, pulled out the sword. I won't lose. I can't lose to you humans. Beto focused on a portal, sensing Asta's presence. But countless Asta presences appeared. Numerous Astas emerged from the portals. Mirror magic. Real double. Transformation magic. Magic transformation. Ghosh's mirror clones and Gray's transformations all had Asta's aura. Asta's lack of magic power made it easier. Both Ghosh and Gray had used a lot of magic power and hadn't recovered. This was their final technique. Beto destroyed one, Asta, only to find it shatter into mirror fragments. Another, Asta, disappeared into thin air. Beto went berserk, destroying all the Astas, none of which were the real Asta. But Beto remained vigilant, sensing all the portals, ready to destroy any Asta that emerged. Instead of increasing, the portals began to shrink, some disappearing. Beto laughed. Humans are trash. You've run out of magic. He was right. Finral, not known for his magic power, was struggling. But it's enough. A portal opened, revealing not Asta but Drake, who'd used all his remaining magic power. Dragon Slayer Secret Art, Crimson Lotus Blazing Blade. Drake's magic was low, the secret art lacked full power. But it was still incredibly destructive. At point-blank range, Beto took the full brunt. A fiery storm tore through Beto, destroying half his body. Drake, his magic depleted, collapsed. Beto, with only one leg, stood, his face a mask of pain and rage. Beast magic. LSPHPX'd. Regeneration was slow, but his legs slowly grew back. Beto approached Drake, his body and arms still regenerating. He raised his intact arm. A sonic boom echoed. Beto spun around, seeing Asta approaching rapidly, propelled by the giant sheep, still in a throwing position. With the portals gone, Beto believed Asta couldn't approach before he reacted. His anger had clouded his perception. He hadn't noticed Charmy's magic. Beto underestimated Asta's physical training and willpower. Despair. None of us gave up. You lost. Asta roared, black markings appearing on his face. A dark shadow seemed to emerge from behind him. Beto could only watch as the Demon Slayer sword fell. The magic power protecting and strengthening Beto's body was severed. Beto's eyes rolled back. He collapsed. We won. Vanessa exclaimed, collapsing onto the ground. Finral sat down, laughing. Yes, we won. The Black Bulls have won. Everyone cheered. Drake lay in the underwater temple's infirmary, surrounded by girls. Finral watched enviously. The battle had apparently been broadcast by the high priest. Drake had become popular. Drake's consciousness was still on the Dragon Slayer's secret art. He woke up to an unfamiliar ceiling. Then, many women appeared, making him feel like he was in heaven. Drake regretted missing Yami's new magic, dark binding, dimensional slash. Asta's description was incomprehensible. Veto had gone berserk. His unleashed magic could have destroyed the temple. Yami had stopped him. Yami's power-up was even more dramatic than Asta's. It was powerful enough to cut through demons. Drake, having only used up his magic power, woke up after a day, making the victory celebration. The mission was complete. Nero found the magic stone. The high priest had claimed ignorance of the stone's location. Nero had found it in the labyrinthine temple. Most of the Black Bulls were exhausted. Asta had a broken bone. Magna and Luck were injured but mobile. After Finral recovered his magic, they returned to the Black Bull's headquarters via his spatial magic. At Black Bull's headquarters, several days had passed since their return from the underwater temple. Asta, his arm still in a sling, entered the headquarters, finding it unusually quiet. Only Yami sat on the sofa, reading a newspaper. Asta curiously asked, "Captain Yami, isn't anyone else here?" Yami, holding a cigarette, replied, "Who knows? Maybe they're slacking off somewhere." Looking at Asta, Yami sighed inwardly. He knew exactly where everyone was. Magna and Luck were exploring a dangerous magic palace. Charmy and Gray were on a food-gathering training mission. Finral and Gordon were at the Royal Library. Vanessa, Noel, and Gauche were investigating clues about the magic stones. Everyone seemed busy. Yami understood that, regardless of their words, they were all striving to become stronger, motivated by the short mage and another newcomer. In the underwater temple battle, Drake, a newcomer, had displayed immense power, shaming the veterans. The shame of watching their juniors fight while they could only observe fueled their desire to improve. In Asta, they saw unwavering determination. He'd erased despair from their dictionaries. With these two newcomers, they wouldn't slack off. Speaking of Drake, I haven't seen him in a while, Yami thought, but didn't say it aloud. Drake had disappeared after returning from headquarters and missed the mission debrief. Yami assumed Drake was training, he wouldn't stop striving for strength. Several things happened after the mission, most importantly the debrief. Yami and Asta went to headquarters to deliver the magic stones and submit a detailed report. Drake, a key figure in the fight against Veto, also went to the debrief, at his own request. He specifically mentioned Veto's curse magic, hinting to the Wizard King to investigate the elves, based on the royal family's records that slandered the elves as demonic beings intent on monopolizing magic. Taking Asta was to get the headquarters, medical mages to treat his injured arm. Asta's arm had been severely damaged by Veto, the bones were shattered. It was far better than in the original story, where both his arms were destroyed. The capital's medical mages were skilled. His arm was nearly healed, awaiting complete bone regeneration. Unfortunately, the Diamond Kingdom invaded. Asta caused further damage, leaving his arm bandaged. Yami was only half right. Drake was training but also plotting. The underwater temple mission was a success. Asta wasn't severely injured, others had grown stronger. But Drake hadn't saved Kahono and Kyoto. He wasn't close to them and didn't blame himself. He was frustrated that he hadn't completely changed fate. His strength was still insufficient. If he'd defeated the lock magic user faster, he might have saved them. Drake realized he'd passively followed Asta's storyline. He subconsciously feared altering the original plot and losing his foresight, hence his passivity. He realized that continuing this passivity would lead to a similar outcome. He wanted change but feared it. He needed to abandon this weakness. He'd begun his actions, hinting to the Wizard King about the elves was part of it. The Grand Magic Zone, Ultime Volcano Mountain Trail. Drake returned to train. The battle had been a catalyst for growth. After Veto, Drake felt significant improvement, especially after pushing his limits. His magic power and physical abilities had surged. Dragon Blood mode was more stable and longer lasting. Drake was inside the volcano, aiming to master magic territory, an advanced magic skin technique. With magic territory, mages could freely manipulate magic within the area, attacking enemies from all directions, levitating, or even controlling natural mana to replenish their magic or suppress enemies. Marioleona Vermilion was the first to demonstrate magic territory's power. She'd trained Yami, Even he called her, Big Sis. In her magic territory, even elves, favored by magic, lost control of natural mana. She could have defeated the fully awakened Raya if not for fighting 4 opponents. Drake wanted this skill and trained in this dangerous place. Ultime Volcano Mountain Trail's formation was due to a massive underground mana heat source. The intense fire mana melted the rocks, creating the volcano. The deeper Drake went into the volcano, the hotter it became. While magic skin allowed movement outside, inside the cave, any disruption would lead to incineration. Drake adjusted his breathing, accelerating his magic flow, and moved deeper. Another reason for choosing this location was lava surged, a lava giant appeared. Fire dragon's wing beat. Drake's flames shattered half the giant, turning it back into lava. Drake rested briefly and continued. This grand magic's depths held creatures, elemental beings like the lava giant and other unique organisms. They possessed strong bodies and high fire resistance. Even Drake needed effort to defeat them. He hadn't found the magic palace deep within the volcano. It only contained treasures and a magical tool that transformed animals into beasts. Not finding it wasn't a loss. Drake wanted to fight the beast spider. Escaping Marioliona suggested it was a strong opponent. It's scorching hot here, I can't sleep. A voice reached Drake. He wasn't surprised. Finally. I thought you'd arrive sooner, Drake said, turning to see the languid man. Oh my. I thought I'd fallen for a magic night trap. Raya, one of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, said. Drake waved his hand. Not a trap, but your presence here was intentional. Several days prior, in Khitan, a crucial border town of the Clover Kingdom, serving as a key defensive point against the Diamond Kingdom. While Yami, Drake, and Asta were briefing the Wizard King on their mission from the underwater temple, the Diamond Kingdom launched a surprise attack on Khitan. This wasn't a minor border skirmish, the sheer number of Diamond Kingdom mages was unprecedented. Most alarmingly, 3 of their 8 shining generals led the attack, a force usually reserved for full-scale wars. It felt like the end of days. However, Drake knew this was due to an internal power struggle within the Diamond Kingdom. These mages, including the 3 generals, were expendable. In recent years, as the Diamond Kingdom's king aged, power had shifted to the mage scholar, Morris. Morris's artificial mage project had yielded results. Most of the 8 shining generals had been replaced by new, artificially created mages like Mars. The older generals were deemed obsolete and sent to Khitan as expendable pawns. Despite their expendable status, the 8 shining generals were the equivalent of magic knight captains. With their large force, they quickly overwhelmed Khitan. Fortunately, the magic knights responded swiftly. The Golden Dawn, led by Captain William Vengeance, arrived for support, resulting in intense fighting in Khitan. Yami, informed by headquarters, immediately decided to provide support. Luckily, Finral had been to Khitan before. Finding him in the capital, the Black Bulls quickly arrived at the battlefield using Finral's spatial magic. Upon arrival, they didn't see fierce fighting but an immense tree, its crown almost obscuring the entire town. Its roots spread like pythons, its branches like spears, completely routing the invading Diamond Kingdom forces. World Tree Magic. Great Tree Mistiltine. This was Captain Vengeance's magic, instantly turning the tide of the battle. The sheer power was unimaginable, the vast amount of magic power required was astounding. Most impressively, Vengeance had avoided harming his own troops and the civilians. This showcased his skill as a top-tier magic knight and his closeness to the Wizard King. Seeing the colossal tree, Asta's eyes widened. What's that giant tree? Did Khitan plant such a big tree? Asta's usual excitable self was on full display, but others were more practical. Are there giant fruits? Asked Charmy, still dreaming of the head chef's cooking from headquarters. She'd stubbornly followed them to Khitan. She wasn't here for food, though, but for Yuno. Drake had forgotten the details of their relationship, but Charmy always called Yuno the prince of delicious food, leaving the extent of food's influence on her infatuation unclear. Yami delivered 2 hand chops to the distracted duo. That's probably Golden Flash's magic. Maybe it's better if he didn't come. Finral, ever the worrier, complained, can we just go back? No one paid him any attention, leaving him to dejectedly repeat, I'm a senior. Drake looked around. But several powerful mages haven't been dealt with. While Vengeance's magic was powerful, it couldn't defeat everyone. Skilled mages could easily evade it. Drake sensed at least 4 or 5 powerful magic signatures still active, proving the 8 Shining General's skill. Drake didn't intend to fight, he had his own purpose, requiring a confrontation with Vengeance. I'll check the situation, Golden Flash might be up there. Try not to die helping the townspeople. Yami said, leaping from the wall. Drake, ignoring the order, followed Yami. Yami said, Kid, didn't you hear me? Drake said seriously, I know what you're doing, Captain. But this concerns me, I should be there. Yami stared. Kids these days are perceptive. Come on, we need to figure some things out. Did Yami truly believe Kaiten needed support? No. He trusted the Golden Dawn and Vengeance's abilities. Even against 3 generals and numerous mages, they couldn't defeat Vengeance's Golden Dawn. Yami's concern stemmed from his suspicions after the battle with Patry. He felt a strange familiarity with Patry, his face reminding him of his longtime rival. Their magic, grimoires, appearances, and even ki were different, yet his intuition linked them. He needed to resolve this uncertainty. He hadn't seen Vengeance since then, not even at the subsequent captain's meeting. Vengeance's recent activities were suspicious, his explanation of being on a mission lacked conviction. Yami seized this opportunity during the underwater temple mission. They quickly climbed the giant tree, sensing Vengeance's powerful magic. No good. They both sensed something was wrong. Yami sped up. Vengeance had just subdued a general when someone emerged from the smoke, about to attack Vengeance. Strong mages often over-rely on their magical senses during battle. Mages like Lotus, skilled at concealing their magic power, often succeed in surprise attacks. Asta's surprise attacks were due to his lack of magic power. Yami, however, relied more on sensing ki, so Lotus's stealth didn't fool him. His blade forced Lotus back. Yami. Vengeance was clearly surprised. Excuse me, Golden Flash. Yami greeted him. You owe me one. Thank you for the rescue. You sensed my ki. Impressive, Vengeance replied politely. Drake arrived as Lotus, demonstrating his Diamond Kingdom spirit, promptly retreated with the defeated general. Decisive guy. Yami commented, his expression turning serious. Now that the irrelevant people are gone, let's have a nice chat in this beautiful scenery. Vengeance. Vengeance smiled. Rare to see you so serious. But is that young man all right? Drake approached Yami. Captain Vengeance, this is our second meeting. This was their first meeting outside the Magic Knight entrance exam. Vengeance nodded. I remember you. You're from Yuno's village, a boy favored by the 4-leaf clover. Drake continued. An honor. But I asked Captain Yami to bring me here, it's important. Vengeance said, I understand. Yami, speak. Yami lit a cigarette. I trust my intuition. Vengeance, would you mind removing your mask? After a pause, Vengeance said, my face isn't meant for others to see. Yami feigned ease. Why? Are you incredibly ugly? Don't worry, I don't mock people. His joking demeanor didn't lighten the mood. Vengeance smiled. I understand, you suspect. I'm the Eye of the Midnight Sun's leader. Yami's smile vanished. Frankly, yes. Yami reminisced. We've known each other for almost 10 years. We met on the battlefield, fought together, and became captains around the same time. Nozzle's 3 braids were still wobbly back then. His playful comment didn't amuse anyone. We weren't close, but we've known each other for a long time. So, let me see, your face. Yami's words were nostalgic but conveyed his suspicion. Refusal would mean immediate action. All right, Vengeance said, accepting. Removing his mask revealed a scar covering half his face. Yami looked at Drake, who nodded. Yami said, Julius mentioned it, but it's a serious scar. My newcomer saw this face elsewhere, can you explain? Vengeance remained calm. I can't explain, you wouldn't believe in coincidence. Yami sighed. Vengeance, you're making this difficult. Vengeance smiled. If you don't mind, I'll tell you about this scar. Seeing Yami's interest, Vengeance began his story. Because of this birthmark, I was called the cursed child. Magic couldn't heal it, people feared and hated me. I was a noble's illegitimate child, living in the outskirts until the heir died. My magic power was high, world tree magic is rare. But even there, my face was shunned. I was severely abused by my stepmother, my childhood was hell. Yami said, you had it rough. Vengeance smiled warmly. But then, I met Julius. He didn't care about my appearance, only my abilities. I was happy, I wanted to dedicate my magic to him. Vengeance's smile was genuine. Yami felt a connection, their stories were similar. Even Drake sensed Vengeance's sincerity, he truly wanted to serve Julius. Without knowing the truth, Drake would have dismissed his suspicions. Drake spoke, his tone serious. Captain Vengeance, what's your relationship with Captain Fugolian? Vengeance paused. Fugolian. He's frank and cheerful, we're close friends. Friends. Drake's eyes sparked. Yes, Captain Fugolian saw Captain Vengeance's face, giving the enemy an opportunity. Vengeance fell silent, he understood. Fugolian was his friend, critically injured, and he bore responsibility. Drake said, I have no right to lecture a captain, but sometimes, giving a choice to others is a choice in itself. Drake turned to Yami. Captain Yami, things aren't settled below, I'll help. Drake had spoken his mind, he hadn't intended to convince Vengeance. Vengeance's will couldn't be changed easily. Drake's main reason for confronting Vengeance was to show someone inside him something. Drake leapt from the tree, his necklace swung. He didn't like jewelry, he wore it for a reason, a clear, oval gem. Vengeance, from above, looked at Drake, his eyes sharpened. Yami sensed a chill, but it seemed like a delusion. But afterward, Yami's expression was filled with conflict and pain. Several days prior, at the foot of Ultime Volcano Mountain Trail, in a subterranean cave, Drake confronted the suddenly appearing Raya. Raya pointed at the necklace around Drake's neck. So, that's the bait. It's not a fake, is it? Drake ripped off the necklace. It's a genuine magic stone. After we reach an agreement, I'll give it to you as a souvenir. The necklace held the magic stone the Eye of the Midnight Sun had missed in Soshi village. Drake had shown it to Vengeance. Perhaps due to his constant lying, the false Raya could sense deception. He realized Drake wasn't lying or being evasive. This only increased his suspicion. So, you agree with the Eye of the Midnight Sun's ideals and want to join us? Raya's tone lacked joy, instead sounding cold. Dirty humans. So many agree with the idea of oppression to satisfy their desires. They are a vile, evil race. Raya thought. Even as an executive of the Eye of the Midnight Sun, Raya despised their ideals, they were a manifestation of humanity's flaws, which had destroyed everything for him. If Drake admitted it, Raya could easily retrieve the magic stone and use Drake as a sacrifice for the reincarnation magic. Raya said, if so, give me the stone. I don't mind recommending you as an executive. Drake held the stone, showing no intention of handing it over. Don't be impatient. I'm not interested in the Eye of the Midnight Sun's ideals. I didn't lure you here to surrender. Raya looked troubled. Retrieving the stone won't be easy. This is troublesome. And I'm the target. I don't remember doing anything noteworthy. Drake said, with a strange expression, fake as fake, you're still pretending. You came alone, you've noticed something, haven't you? Drake had been training but also waiting for Raya. Showing the magic stone to Patry and not concealing his movements were all for this meeting. The magic stone was the Eye of the Midnight Sun's primary target, Patry wouldn't want it in Drake's hands. Taking it from Drake was as difficult as taking it from a Magic Knight captain. Patry, having fought Drake, knew this. Even if he could defeat Drake, Drake could easily escape. Deep within Ultime Volcano Mountain Trail, Drake had the home field advantage, the Eye of the Midnight Sun's lower-ranked members couldn't touch him. Only Patry or the Dark Triad could retrieve the stone. Patry, as Vengeance, was dealing with the aftermath of the Kaidan battle. Of the Dark Triad, Beto was defeated, Fana, let's not mention her. Sending Fana, who Drake completely countered, would be disastrous. Only Raya had the ability, so Drake was certain it would be Raya. Raya, though lazy, was perceptive. Patry hadn't noticed anything, but Raya had detected Drake's unusual actions. Raya shrugged. Who knows? Just get to the point, I'm sleepy. Drake said, where to begin? Let's start with your comrade's power. A fishbone light sword pierced the ground where Drake had been standing, Raya's lazy expression turned cold. You're reminding me that my most important comrade, Beto, was killed by you. You've angered me. Drake dodged the sword and retreated. I wouldn't insult a warrior who fought to the end. Haven't you noticed something wrong with your power? Raya, the most perceptive, controlled his emotions. Drake continued, your leader told a story about a race stripped of everything. Coincidentally, I found a different story in the kingdom's fairy tales. Raya's expression was beyond ugly, it was ferocious. Many fairy tales circulated in the Clover Kingdom, but the most famous was the first wizard king defeating a demon god and saving humanity. Asta and Yuno's dream stemmed from this story. The villain, the demon god who threatened humanity, was summoned by a race that sought to monopolize all magic. In the story, they were greedy and evil, called the demon race. Raya's anger was understandable. The elves, favored by magic and peaceful, had been stripped of everything and cursed as demons for 500 years. Having experienced that tragedy, Raya's anger was justified. Drake continued, I don't trust history, I trust my eyes. I can sense something special in the royal family's magic, it's clear who's lying. I sense the same in you three. You're the race stripped of magic 500 years ago. Raya relived that day, the day of blood and fire. The sky was covered by a giant magic circle, the elves, magic and power were sealed. Light swords rained down, he heard screams and saw blood. Sadness, hatred, anger, tore at his heart, the pain surpassed the pain of being pierced by light swords 500 years ago. Raya's third eye opened. Thanks to you, I remember. Humans must all be killed. Drake sighed, a fight was inevitable. Raya, the clear-headed one, was now controlled by the evil eye. But unlike Beto, Fana, and Patri, his evil wasn't as strong. Let me help you vent your anger. But if you don't stop, I'll eliminate you without hesitation. Drake said, cracking his knuckles. 500 years ago, the elf leader's timely intervention prevented the demon's plan from succeeding. The demon wouldn't give up easily, he used reincarnation magic, transmigration spirit return on the entire elf race, creating the Eye of the Midnight Sun 500 years later. The demon wasn't benevolent, he merely used the elves, especially Patri, who was also chosen by a four-leaf clover grimoire, as pawns. He used the reincarnation magic to plant evil intentions in their souls. These evil intentions amplified their negative emotions. Hatred for humans and the desire to revive their people drove them to act according to the demon's plan. But Raya's evil intentions were far weaker than the other elves. Elves possessed many positive qualities, their intense hatred stemmed not only from human cruelty. The first wizard king, Lumiere, and the elf king, Licht, were close friends, sharing a dream of mutual understanding between humans and elves. Lumiere and his sister, Tisha, were the first humans accepted by the elves. Tisha even fell in love with Licht and had children. But tragedy struck at Licht and Tisha's wedding. At a secret location known only to Lumiere, a magical tool appeared, and an attack was launched using Lumiere's light magic. This betrayal caused the elves to despair. But Raya knew Lumiere's words were sincere, he hadn't betrayed the elves, trust. Raya's negative emotions weren't deep, he only wanted to see his friend again. He hadn't revealed the truth to others, fearing they'd stop without a reason for revenge. This was why Drake met Raya, now, he needed to awaken Raya. Despite his rage, Raya's combat awareness was exceptional. In a flash, he covered 15 meters, appearing before Drake. Drake retreated, using flames to repel Raya. TCH. Raya clicked his tongue, displeased at his failure. The false Raya's magic was imitation magic, allowing him to use others' magic after touching their grimoire's cover. Touching Yami's grimoire wasn't a provocation but an attempt to obtain Yami's dark magic. Drake didn't want to test if Raya could steal his Dragon Slayer and world magic. Imitation magic, dark cloaked avidya slash. Raya swung his dark magic katana, a black crescent aimed at Drake. Drake experienced Yami's magic firsthand, he understood Yami's strength. Yami's dark magic's strength wasn't its destructive power but its ability to absorb things. Drake's flames collided with the black crescent, the flames were absorbed. Drake dodged, charging towards Raya. Imitation magic, permeation magic, invisible scout. Drake passed through the transparent Raya, his attack hitting the lava. This was Guldrake Poizo's invisibility magic, unlike a certain masked man's, it made the user truly disappear. Luckily, Raya couldn't use two spells simultaneously, he couldn't attack after using invisibility, otherwise, Drake would have surrendered. Imitation magic, light sword of judgment. Raya reappeared, creating numerous fishbone light swords, firing them at Drake. Drake didn't use Dragon Blood mode, he wanted to test his limits. Fire Dragon's Blazing Inferno. Drake combined his flames and launched them at the swords. The fireball shattered the swords and struck Raya. The flames revealed a burned Raya. Imitation Magic. Healing Ray of Light. The light healed his burns, his ferocity lessened, he looked at Drake. The unfavorable battle awakened his reason, he began to think. Drake smiled. Raya was regaining clarity. He'd realized the situation. Drake's advantage was partly due to his increased strength but also the environment. Just as Drake couldn't perform at his best in the underwater temple, this was deep within Ultime Volcano Mountain Trail. Only fire mana was abundant. Drake had chosen this battlefield to his advantage. Raya's non-fire magic was weakened and consumed more magic power. This put Raya at a disadvantage. Drake had prepared thoroughly, proving himself different from the Black Bull's reckless members. Raya, unaware of Drake's thoughts, considered how to turn the tide. Drake attacked. Fire Dragon's Claw. Imitation Magic. Dark Cloaked Avidya Slash. Drake kicked away the Black Crescent and punched Raya. Imitation Magic. Water Magic. Aqua Curtain. Drake's punch hit the water curtain, the flames consumed the water. Outside, evaporated water would turn into mist, but here, it was simply erased. Drake admired imitation magic, its strengths and weaknesses were prominent. It allowed mages to master various spells, countering any enemy or environment. But the copied magic wouldn't surpass the original user's skill. Raya copied Yami's dark magic but couldn't create dimensional slash. But in this magic power-centric world, Raya's magic power surpassed the original's, he could compensate for precision with sheer power. Raya using water magic in Ultime Volcano Mountain Trail showed his strength. Imitation Magic. Water Magic. Aqua Javelin. Raya condensed a whirlwind into a spear and threw it. Drake dodged. A purplish smoke appeared. Raya used Poison Magic. Drake wouldn't test its toxicity. Fire Dragon's Roar. Drake used minimal magic power to create a massive fire pillar. The intense heat incinerated the poison. Drake saw Raya. The poison wasn't to harm Drake but to obscure his vision. Raya was crouched, hands on the ground. Imitation Magic. Earth Magic. Stone Spear. Imitation Magic. Earth Magic. Stone Spear. Raya had obscured Drake's vision to use this spell. Ultime Volcano Mountain Trail was rich in fire mana. Water mana, which counters fire, was scarce. But other types of mana existed, such as earth mana, which wasn't as suppressed. Unable to use fire magic, Raya chose earth magic. Drake dodged the rapidly emerging stone spears. The speed was astonishing, they formed a cage, trapping Drake. Drake moved, but the spears remained unmoved, they felt like steel, not rock. Raya stood, wiping non-existent sweat. Hand over the magic stone and tell me everything. Drake, unfazed, laughed. Your anger's subsided, you've calmed down. But we're not equals, let's continue. Raya was wary, he knew about Drake's Dragon Blood mode, which boosted his combat power to the level of a Magic Knight Captain. He prepared for Drake to activate it. But Drake's magic power was calm, not frenzied. Raya didn't believe Drake had given up, there was something he didn't know. If you'd arrived a day earlier, you wouldn't have seen this. Judge my new ability. Drake's grimoire glowed, turning to a new page. A roar echoed, Raya felt something pass through him. He couldn't identify the spell. Magic Territory. Dragon's Nest. Drake looked up, Raya instinctively retreated. He confirmed the majestic creature was an illusion. Raya asked, suspiciously, what did you do? Drake said casually, this is my magic territory. I've integrated too much, it's a new spell. You felt its secondary ability, Dragon's Intimidation. Within my magic territory, those who fight me must face the terror of a dragon. Drake didn't know why his magic territory had become this way, but it was beneficial. Dragon's Intimidation was a mental attack, not everyone could overcome fear. This was why he explained it. Even knowing a beast eats people doesn't eliminate fear, it intensifies it. Most enemies would be suppressed from the start. This magic territory's power didn't end there. Crack, crack. The stone spears trapping Drake cracked and shattered as Drake moved his arm. Their hardness was due to Raya's earth mana. Without it, they couldn't restrain Drake. Drake said, don't understand. This space is a dragon's nest, all mana is the dragon's treasure. Would anyone take a dragon's treasure? This is the dragon's greed, absolute control over mana within this territory. An incredibly terrifying spell. Raya exclaimed genuinely, he was shocked. A human possessing such magic was unimaginable. If elves were favored by magic, Drake was its king in this territory. Drake continued, it's hard to believe without experiencing it. Let's proceed. Drake's speed, even without Dragon Blood mode, surpassed Raya's reaction speed. Raya realized the mana was propelling Drake. Drake's control wasn't a bluff. Raya transformed into light to escape. Drake, whose speed was comparable to light, caught him. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. The magic territory enhanced the punch, drawing upon surrounding mana, exceeding Drake's maximum magic power. Raya, unable to defend, took the full impact. He flew into a rock wall, spitting blood, he used healing magic. The healing was slow. Fortunately, Drake didn't pursue, allowing Raya to recover. Incredible power. Raya said calmly. I surrender. Let's talk. The oppressive aura vanished, Drake had ended the spell. Drake was relieved, it wasn't easy. If Raya had persisted, it's unclear who would have lost. Drake had only mastered this spell for a day. The spell was taxing, enhanced magic territory had side effects. If Dragon Blood mode required physical strength and Dragon Force, Dragon's Nest's burden was mental, it was brain burning. Controlling mana and intimidating enemies required immense willpower. Drake felt his brain boiling after using it briefly. He sighed. Magic territory allowed mages to replenish mana using natural mana, increasing stamina. Drake had trained for longer battles but had created another time-limited burst skill. When will I become truly enduring? Drake proved he deserved to speak with Raya as an equal, and they finally had a calm conversation. Raya scratched his head. First, you seem to know a lot. I'm curious where you got your information. Raya was surprisingly perceptive. Although Drake had made it seem like his knowledge was based on deduction, Raya was suspicious. Drake waved his hand. There are things I can't explain. But I won't harm you. Raya, sensing Drake wasn't lying, said, true. It's all troublesome, it doesn't matter if I don't know. What do you know? Drake replied, you've felt the abnormality in your bodies. That ominous power isn't from the reincarnation magic, it's from something more dangerous. Or rather, is the reincarnation magic what you think it is? Raya's eyes sharpened. Impossible. Licht used it to revive our people. Drake countered, what kind of person was Licht, the Elf King, in your memory? Before Raya could answer, Drake continued, he was gentle. Would such a gentle person use magic that pollutes souls? Raya was speechless. Since his reincarnation, he'd been consumed by pain and hatred. The gentle Licht wouldn't have subjected his comrades to this. He found the situation illogical. Licht was a genius, but he hadn't studied reincarnation magic. The Patri who impersonated Licht was also strange. How did he know about collecting magic stones to complete the reincarnation magic? He hadn't suspected his elf comrades before, but now, he saw many problems. Since Raya could discern truth from falsehood, Drake spoke frankly. It's a demon. The ominous power and the reincarnation magic, the mastermind is a demon. A demon. Raya said. That's a legendary being. It's hard to accept. Drake explained. Demons live in the netherworld, they possess powerful, forbidden magic. Manipulating humans is their greatest pleasure. The netherworld can't satisfy them, they want to enter the human world. Entering as their true selves is difficult. One way is to use two netherworld mages who wield special magic as sacrifices to activate the evil tree magic and open the netherworld's gates. Another way is to drive a mage with a 4-leaf clover grimoire to despair. A 5-leaf clover grimoire, which demons can inhabit, will be born. Raya's pupils constricted, he recalled Licht kneeling in blood and fire with his wife, then remembered Asta's grimoire. Drake confirmed his guess. Yes. Licht, chosen by the 4-leaf clover 500 years ago, became the demon's target. He incited the greedy human royals to slaughter the elves, aiming to drive your king to despair. What? Hatred flared in Raya's eyes. Because of that. Drake sighed. I won't excuse the royals, without their greed, the demon wouldn't have succeeded. But the mastermind was the demon. Your king awakened and stopped the demon, that's why the demon used reincarnation magic. Raya pondered. The demon's goal is to drive a 4-leaf clover mage to despair, creating a 5-leaf clover grimoire. His target is. Drake nodded. The Eye of the Midnight Sun's leader, the elf boy impersonating Licht. Imagine sacrificing everything for your comrades, only to discover you were a tool. The destruction of one's beliefs is unbearable. Raya couldn't verify Drake's information, but he sensed Drake wasn't lying. Drake's explanation made sense. Raya made his decision. Raya scratched his head. You told me this, you have a plan. What are you going to do? Raya was conflicted. Continuing their plan might fulfill the demon's desires. Stopping meant he couldn't see Licht and the others again. It was a painful choice. He didn't want the demon to win, as it might break Patry, who was impersonating Licht. But he couldn't abandon his wish to reunite with his comrades. Understanding Raya's dilemma, Drake tossed him the magic stone. Raya looked at Drake questioningly. What does this mean? Drake said, since we're negotiating, let's aim for a win-win situation. Win-win. Raya was confused. Drake said, we don't know what the demon left in your reincarnation magic, completely disrupting his plan might cause unforeseen consequences. And you want to see your comrades again. I'll help you complete the reincarnation magic. Raya shook his head. What's the point? The reincarnated comrades will be the demon's puppets. Let them remain asleep. Drake shook his head. The problem needs solving. We can't end the 500-year tragedy without defeating the demon. Fortunately, this era has the means to defeat demons. Raya realized that human kid's anti-magic. Drake nodded. Yes, Asta's anti-magic can defeat the demon. Raya asked, you believe that kid can defeat a legendary demon? He has no magic power. Drake said confidently, of course. Don't underestimate Asta's power. We're preparing, aren't we? Without confidence, we should surrender. True. Raya laughed. Drake continued, but we can't involve innocent people. You know the reincarnation magic's side effects. We must prevent your comrades from harming others. And you don't want them suffering because of the demon's magic. Raya said wryly, so, we need to undo the reincarnation magic. We have Licht's demon slayer sword, it can undo active magic. With that human kid's anti-magic, maybe we can do it. Drake stroked his chin. We don't need to be so fixated. I remember your Eye of the Midnight Sun has a mage scholar. She can artificially create bodies with the same magic power. If we prepare soulless bodies, perhaps we can achieve perfect reincarnation when undoing the original reincarnation magic. Hope appeared in Raya's eyes. Can little Sally do that? Drake cautioned, it's just a hypothesis, we need to research it. I can't help with that, you'll have to work on it. Raya sighed. That's troublesome. Our operation is about to begin, we don't have much time. Drake learned from Raya that the Eye of the Midnight Sun needed 2 more magic stones, one from the Wizard King, one from the Witch Queen in the Witch's Forest. Fana was retrieving the stone from the Witch Queen, the Wizard King was the most challenging. The Eye of the Midnight Sun planned to reveal their headquarters to lure the Magic Knight's elite forces, weakening the Wizard King's defenses to steal the last stone. Drake considered delaying them. I have more information. The Elf King's children were twins, one survived the disaster but was sealed away. His descendants still live somewhere. Can you use this to buy time? Drake sensed Raya's distraction during the following discussion, but they successfully agreed on a plan, and then parted ways. Drake watched Raya leave using spatial magic, anticipating how much he could change the future. Drake's proposal to revive the elves served a dual purpose, boosting Raya's morale and securing reinforcements. The elves, favored by magic, possessed immense power and could potentially master ultimate magic rivaling demons, making them valuable assets in the upcoming battle against demons. Drake sometimes felt he worried too much, already strategizing for the future conflict with the Spade Kingdom. But his own strength was paramount, so after meeting Raya, he refocused on his training. Intel. Drake stared at the fire elf, Salamander, entering his grimoire, unsure how to react. It seemed Fana, who had previously contracted with the fire elf, had been defeated, though the circumstances remained unclear. Drake realized he'd spent too long at the Ultime Volcano Mountain Trail, becoming isolated from information. Fearing he'd missed something important, he returned to Black Bull's headquarters. Upon his return, he found everyone excitedly preparing to leave. Before he could ask, Yami dragged him to the capital. The capital was bustling, It was the Star Fruit Festival, Clover Kingdom's largest annual celebration. Within the Magic Nights, the period from April to the following March was a statistical cycle. Headquarters tallied the stars each squad earned and ranked them. To boost public confidence, the results were announced annually, evolving into a celebration, the Star Fruit Festival, celebrating their achievements. Drake's return coincided with this day. Yami forced him to take a holiday in the capital. Finral explained what had happened during Drake's training. As if by fate, even without needing Asta's arm treated, the Black Bulls went to the Witch's Forest. Vanessa and the others were investigating the magic stones. A picture of a magic stone reminded Vanessa of one she'd seen, in the Witch Queen's possession. The Witch Queen was a mysterious being, the creator and mother of all witches. No one knew her age or strength, even Yami was cautious. Vanessa volunteered to retrieve the magic stone. Yami couldn't refuse her newfound courage to confront her past. He took Asta, Noelle, and Finral to assist her. Unluckily, Fana and many Eye of the Midnight Sun mages arrived at the Witch's Forest, also seeking the magic stones. The Diamond Kingdom's mages also intervened. The Diamond Kingdom's king was nearing death. They sought the secret to longevity from the Witch Queen. The Black Bulls agreed to help the Witch's Forest repel the other two forces in exchange for the magic stones. The stones were retrieved. The outcome was clear, otherwise, the Fire Elf wouldn't have made a new contract with Drake. Compared to the unconscious Fugolian, Drake, with his four-leaf clover grimoire and Fire Dragon King's power, was better suited to Salamander. This meant the magic stones the Eye of the Midnight Sun hadn't obtained were now with the Wizard King. Patry would need to proceed with his plan. Drake wondered about Raya's progress and planned to contact him. For now, he'd enjoy the festival. He'd done what he needed to do and could relax. The festival, despite being in a magical world, had a distinctly Japanese festival feel. Even the street food was Japanese. Drake happily ate takoyaki and yakitori. Besides the Japanese elements, some stalls featured magic-related games. Drake watched. Someone grabbed his shoulder. He felt a powerful aura. Marioliona-sama. You're at the Star Fruit Festival. Drake greeted her respectfully. Kid, you're too relaxed. You need more training. Marioliona said sternly. Drake surrendered. Please let me go, big sis. I can't handle more training. Drake and the undefeated lioness had known each other for a while. During Drake's first training at the Ultime Volcano Mountain Trail, his ability to climb without magic had caught Marioliona's attention. Marioliona's training had helped Drake master magic skin quickly, though her methods were brutal. He'd discovered the mountaintop hot springs' healing properties. He was grateful, her training had made him much stronger. Marioliona admired Drake's spirit. She'd berated Fugolian countless times for overlooking such talent. Marioliona patted Drake's shoulder. What nonsense. Didn't we have fun? Drake facepalmed. Big sis, watch your words. People will misunderstand. Seeing Marioliona's indifference, Drake gave up. You're here for the Star Fruit Festival. Captain Fugolian is still unconscious. You're leading the Crimson Lion Kings. Marioliona grumbled. That useless little brother. He's still down. I have to do this troublesome task. But it's a chance to train his spineless subordinates. As Drake mourned for the Crimson Lion King's elite members, they noticed a disturbance, a girl with silver twintails giving a speech. I'm royalty. The most magically gifted in this country. Therefore, I believe we should help each other regardless of status. Looking down on others is for those with empty hearts. Royalty, nobles, commoners, let's all enjoy ourselves. Seeing the girl, Marioliona looked nostalgic. Just like her. Drake knew who Marioliona meant. Noelle's mother, the undefeated female mage, Asir Silva, the Clover Kingdom's Iron Valkyrie. Perhaps Marioliona saw her mother in Noelle. But that feeling vanished when Noelle, blushing, knocked Asta away. Such a blunt girl, Marioliona commented. Marioliona wasn't one for celebrations, training and battle were her pleasures. After forcing a training agreement with Drake, she left, allowing Drake to explore the festival. Drake saw other Black Bulls members, Finral chatting up women, Ghosh buying gifts for his sister, Magna and Luck intensely competing at a game stall, and Charmy devouring food prepared by 3 chefs simultaneously. Charmy had a reputation for consuming all the food at stalls annually, leaving vendors challenged, and likely failing to feed her. Gray and Gordon, one transformed into someone unknown, the other naturally inconspicuous, remained unseen. Drake noticed a crowd gathered around two women, Vanessa and another familiar face, preparing for a drinking contest. Charlotte Rosalie, the Azure Deer captain, was a stunning warrior in armor and a beautiful woman out of it. Drake looked at Yami behind them and contributed to the magical world's climate change issues with his thoughts. Captain Yami is so oblivious to this intense battleground. Drake, you're here too. Asta exclaimed. Drake asked, aren't you with Noel? Why are you alone? Asta scratched his head. I don't know, Noel inexplicably knocked me away. Oblivious number 2 had appeared. Drake patted Asta's shoulder. Spend more time with Funeral Senpai. Captain Yami isn't a good example. Suddenly, the crowd became excited. Vanessa, having already consumed a significant amount of alcohol, collapsed after a single drink. Charlotte, her opponent, flushed red after a sip, making cute sounds. They can't drink at all. Asta commented. Yami took the drink from Charlotte. You don't drink well, don't force yourself, haven't I said something similar before? Charlotte collapsed, her incapacitation was unexplained. The crowd surged towards a location, voices reached them. The Magic Knight's achievements are being announced in the main hall. All the captains are here. The Crimson Lion King and Purple Orca are there. I wonder what they're like. All the captains. Drake and Asta exchanged glances, looking at the incapacitated Charlotte and the relaxed Yami. We're late. What do we do? Yami, predictably unreliable, said. The Wizard King appeared on the hall's stage, the announcement began. The Wizard King's popularity was unmatched, the crowd cheered upon his appearance. I'll announce the rankings, the king will also give a speech afterward. Wizard King. Wizard King. Wizard King. The crowd seemed to ignore the king's speech, cheering for the one protecting them. Julius continued, as you know, the Clover Kingdom faces attacks from the Diamond and Spade Kingdoms and the Eye of the Midnight Sun. We've fought relentlessly, the capital was attacked, there were casualties. I considered canceling the Star Fruit Festival. But some bravely fought, this celebration honors those heroes. Let's call upon our 9 Magic Knight captains. Amidst the cheers, the captains appeared on stage. To avoid drawing attention to the 2 absent captains, Julius quickly announced, let's announce the rankings. First place. Golden Dawn. They earned 125 stars, surpassing last year's 96. A magical screen displayed their achievements, showing the Golden Dawn's activity. No one was surprised, the Golden Dawn was the strongest squad, but 125 stars was impressive, largely due to the Eye of the Midnight Sun, which provided many opportunities to earn stars. The Golden Dawn excelled. Let's welcome their most outstanding member. A figure emerged, revealing a cool, handsome face. Yuno, the highly anticipated newcomer who tamed the Wind Elf, Sylph. Yuno's appearance and skills made him a perfect choice for this spotlight. Julius continued, next, second place. The audience discussed 2 likely candidates, the Crimson Lion Kings, or the Silver Eagle, potentially surpassing the Crimson Lion Kings with Captain Fugolian incapacitated. Julius announced the results. The screen displayed an unexpected name. Black Bulls. 101 stars. What? The audience and the Black Bulls were shocked. Drake facepalmed. The Black Bulls' carelessness was excessive. Didn't anyone notice the Black Bulls' display board was empty, with the star count rising steadily? Even Yami seemed oblivious. Didn't he collect the stars? Drake frowned. After the Black Bulls' name appeared, the audience's surprise turned to criticism. Considering the Black Bulls' past behavior, Drake sighed, they deserved it. Many still supported the Black Bulls, their 101 stars weren't fake. Their activities were witnessed by many, they had helped many people. Julius said, your surprise is understandable, the Black Bulls had a record-breaking negative 50 stars last year. But this year is different, they've made remarkable progress. Their most outstanding member, unfortunately, even the captain isn't here. Is anyone from the Black Bulls here? Yami, having changed out of his ridiculous outfit, grabbed Asta's cloak and lifted him. They're calling you, kid. He threw Asta onto the stage, placing him opposite Yuno. 2 rising stars would shine tonight. Yuno and Asta are outstanding newcomers, promising stars. And, as Julius began introducing Yuno and Asta, Yami approached Drake. Removing his cigarette, Yami said, "You deserve to be on stage, kid. Don't you feel uncomfortable?" Drake shook his head. "That wasn't my goal, let Asta take the spotlight." Yami took a drag of his cigarette. "I don't know what you're thinking, kid. But you're a black bull." Drake smiled. "I won't forget that." As they spoke, Julius introduced Asta and Yuno to the crowd. Two boys from the same place, joining different squads and achieving remarkable success in half a year, seemed like a storybook plot. The crowd speculated about their noble origins. Then, a hateful voice emerged. "They're not nobles, they're commoners from remote areas. Asta doesn't even have magic power." Drake frowned and vanished. The person who'd revealed their identities quickly hid. Their motive was simple: jealousy. They envied the commoners' praise and success. But they were suddenly kicked, stumbling into the crowd. Who did that? Everyone recognized the voice. They fled. Drake returned to Yami. The discussion about their commoner status continued. Yuno's demonstration involved Sylph, cooperating with Yuno, unleashed magic, whirlwinds surrounded Yuno. Asta, this reminds me of our training. Star magic and wind magic, white bow. A wind bow appeared, a wind arrow aimed at Asta. The crowd was silenced by the power. Asta severed the arrow with his sword. Julius said sternly, "After witnessing their abilities, anyone who doubts their achievements should speak up. They are commoners, but they worked harder to reach this point. Let's applaud these new magic knights and unite, regardless of status, to bring victory to our country." Julius's popularity and charisma were key. His words united the crowd, celebrating the commoner youths. Julius announced other squads' results, mostly as expected, except for the Black Bull's surprising result. Some were envious, the Azure Deer captain even playfully argued with Asta. After announcing the results, Julius stepped aside. "The announcement is complete. Now, let's welcome our Clover Kingdom's king." A silence fell. Even with Julius's enthusiasm, the king's appearance caused a cold reception. The flamboyant, mustachioed king lacked presence in the public's mind. As Julius had said, only achievements earn trust. This king only enjoyed himself in the palace, he hadn't done anything worthy of respect. Standing beside Julius only highlighted this, making him look lecherous. The king, realizing this, pushed Julius aside. "Greetings, citizens. I am Augustus Kira Clover 13, king of the Clover Kingdom." The crowd was apathetic. The king's temper flared. "Praise me more. I'm the king, the greatest being in this country." He released his magic. "Behold, this sacred, inherited magic. My thoughts, my appearance, everything about me is correct. I'm far greater than the Wizard King." Drake shook his head. Where did the king get the courage to release his magic in front of the Wizard King and the captains? His magic. Such frivolous magic. Someone had said it. Drake looked. It was Yami. The king's magic was untrained, even lower-ranked magic knights could surpass him. Can the Wizard King be king? The Wizard King would be a better king. The crowd whispered. Drake almost laughed. The furious king suddenly changed his demeanor. "Citizens, the Eye of the Midnight Sun's base has been identified. We've been on the defensive. Now, we'll launch a counterattack. I'll select elite magic knights to form the King's Selection Knights. A week from now, there will be trials. Only those who pass will join the King's Selection Knights. They will destroy the Eye of the Midnight Sun. Magic Knights, present your grimoires." The king, having stolen the idea, glanced triumphantly at Julius. His royal dignity had vanished. Drake's excitement turned to gloom. The King's Selection Knights formation was in the original story, during the Star Fruit Festival. Patri attacked Julius and obtained the final magic stone when the King's Selection Knights attacked the Eye of the Midnight Sun's base, the floating magic palace. Something must have gone wrong with Raya, this wasn't their plan. Drake contacted Raya using a communication device left behind. After a long wait, Raya appeared on the screen. "Yawn. Such an urgent call, what's wrong?" Drake calmed himself. "The Magic Knights will select the King's Selection Knights to attack the Eye of the Midnight Sun. Are you ready?" Raya waved his hand. "Don't worry, little Sally is capable, everything will be ready before the Magic Knights depart." Drake frowned. "But this isn't our plan. Did you really try to stall?" Raya yawned, he seemed unreliable. "Relax. The original plan was to expose the real base. Because of your information, Patry decided to change plans. You'll soon get the message, the previously discovered base was fake, the real one is elsewhere, requiring more magic knights. Drake breathed a sigh of relief. Raya, you're reliable. Raya smiled. I'm good at lying. We'll concentrate the reincarnated elves at the new base, that way, I can fulfill my promise of avoiding civilian casualties. Raya sighed inwardly, he didn't want to lie to his comrades, but he had to. Drake was glad he'd partnered with Raya, he wondered how Raya had made the plan progress so smoothly. Leaving the alley, Drake was about to find others when a fiery lion's claw grabbed his head. Big sis, what are you doing here? We have a training agreement. Let's go. It could only be Mereoleona. Drake saw Asta and Yuno also captured, they were carried like luggage. Asta greeted Drake. Mereoleona carried them, followed by Crimson Lion King's members. The group grew, Yami and Charlotte weren't needed for this training but were brought along for demonstrations. Noelle and Saul Marin joined the hot spring training. Noelle was forced, Saul came voluntarily to accompany Charlotte. Drake felt at home at the Ultime Volcano Mountain Trail, he'd spent more time here than at the Black Bull's headquarters. The others were shocked by the hellish landscape. It wasn't the hot spring training they'd imagined, they looked like they were considering a fraud report. Drake smiled. It's scary, but there's a great hot spring at the top. Asta asked, puzzled, how do you know, Drake? Drake stretched. I trained here, I know the area. Asta yelled. Drake's been training like this. I can't fall behind. Yuno looked serious, if Asta was his rival, Drake was his goal. Even with his talent, Yuno knew Drake had always been stronger. He hadn't realized Drake was training so intensely. What are you doing now, Drake? Asta asked, watching Drake warm up. Drake replied, my training is different, I'll warm up first. Drake said to Mereoleona, I'll go ahead, I'll wait for you at the top. Drake's fire dragon wings spread, he flew towards the summit. Mereoleona smiled. Such an impatient kid. She turned to the trainees. See that kid? He's moving freely where you struggle to breathe. If you have the spirit, climb the mountain and see how he trains. Yes. The Crimson Lion King's elite members, energized by Drake, ran towards the mountain path. Yami, watching Drake fly, took a drag of his cigarette, his expression turning serious. He'd been reluctant, but now he wanted to train seriously. Drake reached the summit, landing by the lava lake. At night, the lava receded, and hot water emerged. Drake prepared, the training wouldn't be easy. Mereoleona arrived first. Even after instructing Asta and Noelle, she quickly reached the summit but waited for others. Reaching the summit wasn't easy, they needed magic skin to resist the heat, had to watch out for lava, and faced elemental creatures. But this didn't stop the strong. The two captains reached the top easily. Yuno, riding the wind, arrived soon after. But someone caught up. During the Witches' Forest battle, Asta had faced a life or death crisis, breaking through with his anti-magic infused black state. Half of Asta's body was covered in black stripes, a horn grew from his forehead, his eye color changed, black wings allowed him to fly. He flew past everyone, leaving a black trail. But Asta couldn't control this power, he flew because the anti-magic was drawn to powerful magic. As Asta was about to fall into the lava, Mereoleona released her magic power. Her attraction to Asta surpassed the Ultime Volcano Mountain trails. Asta flew towards her. Wah! Get out of the way. Mereoleona grinned. Get out of the way. Foolish. In a lion pride, the mother lion hunts. Mereoleona appeared beside Asta, punched him, sending him flying, breaking his black state. Mereoleona crossed her arms. You understand yourself a little, but it's far from enough. After instructing Asta, Mereoleona turned to Drake. Those fools will take a while. Let's start our training. Asta gulped. He seemed to guess what Drake and Mereoleona meant by training. Yami, smoking his cigarette, said, no way. That kid's fighting that violent lioness. Despite his calm demeanor, Yami was surprised. Having been trained by Mereoleona, he knew how formidable she was. He couldn't believe Drake considered fighting her training. Mereoleona-sama, please teach me. Drake said seriously. To everyone's astonishment, they clashed. Kid, you talk too much. Mereoleona, without greeting, punched Drake. Drake blocked with crossed arms and countered with a kick. Mereoleona blocked the kick, but a massive explosion of flames erupted, sending lava flying. They continued to clash, their attacks earth-shattering. They were serious. Everyone felt it. Their training was a merciless fight, every move aimed to defeat the other. Fire magic. Calidus Brachium. Fire Dragon's Iron Fist. After several exchanges, they both used magic. Their magic-infused fists collided, creating a massive explosion. Mereoleona leapt to another rock. Drake did the same. She smiled. Not bad. You've gotten stronger. Drake smiled back. Of course. To make you enjoy yourself. You're getting talkative, but that's not enough to satisfy me. Mereoleona grinned, her tone still fierce. They vanished and reappeared above the lava lake, their clash sending lava flying, revealing the rock below. Asta said, dumbfounded, did Drake provoke the Crimson Lion new captain? Why are they fighting like this? Yami slapped Asta's head. Idiot. Didn't you see them smiling? Asta looked. They were both smiling. Yami put his cigarette in his mouth. Watch closely. Mereoleona and Drake are stronger than you imagine. Watch their battle. Mereoleona is one thing, but when did that kid get so strong? Drake and Mereoleona continued their exchange. Mereoleona took a punch, countering with an equally powerful blow. What? You said you had new techniques. Show me. Drake spat out blood. Then I won't hold back. Drake activated Dragon Blood mode, attacking with incredible speed. Now that's more like it. Mereoleona was even more excited. Mereoleona spun and punched. Drake was right in front of her. Mereoleona was strong. Her refined magic power and flame magic were unmatched, but her reaction speed was even more impressive. It surpassed even the fully awakened Veto, who possessed dozens of times the reaction speed of a human. Even Drake, in Dragon Blood mode, couldn't match her speed, his movement was anticipated. Fire magic. Calidus Brachium. Mereoleona's hands were engulfed in flames, her left fist blocked Drake's attack, her right unleashed a fiery lion's claw. Drake dodged. Asta said, puzzled, Drake dodged. But he can absorb flame magic. Yami said, he dodged because he can't absorb it. Yami was right, Drake couldn't absorb Mereoleona's flames. Ordinary mages, flames were like water to Drake, he could absorb them easily. Strong mages, flames were like jelly, they were slightly chewy but manageable. But Mereoleona's flames were like steel, Drake couldn't absorb them. Drake, who'd mastered Dragon Slayer magic, felt the pain of burns. Dodging the claw, Drake continued his assault. Mereoleona blocked with burning wrist. That's not enough to satisfy me. Mereoleona roared, punching Drake, sending him spinning into a rock wall. Coughing, Drake stood before Mereoleona. Deactivating Dragon Blood mode, he said, I can't hold back against Big Sis, here's my strongest technique. Mereoleona laughed. Stronger. Wonderful. I won't hold back either. Bring it on. Mana Zone. X2. They both unleashed their Mana Zone, clashing in the air. Salamander flew from Drake's grimoire. That's. Yami exclaimed. Salamander chose Drake. Asta looked at the wind spirit on Yuno's shoulder, envious. Yuno was also unsettled, he knew the power of spirit magic. Of the four elemental spirits, Salamander couldn't communicate like Sylph and Wendy, but its destructive power was the strongest. Drake, already strong, gained Salamander's magic. Salamander, nourished by Drake's magic power, had matured beyond its infancy. Perhaps influenced by Drake's dragon force, Salamander resembled Igneel. Drake said, I'll call you Fire. Let's go. Drake's dragon's nest and Mereoleona's mana zone overlapped. Drake was surprised that Mereoleona had taken some control of the mana. The undefeated lioness stole the prey from the dragon. Drake realized there were no absolute techniques, it depended on the user's strength. Fire Dragon's Roar. Fire Dragon Brilliant Flame. Drake launched his strongest attack, Fel launched its attack from above. The combined attack surged towards Mereoleona. Mana Zone. Calidus Brachium Barrage. Mereoleona didn't retreat or dodge, she attacked. Countless fiery lion claws collided with the fire pillar. Mereoleona's flames could burn even flames, her claws withstood the pillar. Even Drake couldn't maintain this intensity, the pillar stopped. Mereoleona, exhausted, wiped her sweat. You're strong, kid. Let's continue. Drake, breathless, smiled wryly. He'd used everything, he'd be defeated. The flames reignited. But I won't give up. I'll push my limits here. Leo reached the summit and saw his sister satisfied, Drake lying on the ground like a dead dog. Thanks for watching.